Yo legends! Welcome back to the channel. Grab your headphones and lock in, because today's story is on another level. Want the next chapter? Drop a comment below, and if the legend continues, I'm bringing it straight to you. Disclaimer: I do not claim ownership of this story. All rights belong to the original creators. Note: I'm constantly tweaking the settings to make it as immersive as possible. The timeline where Goku destroys Earth. Chapter 1: The Last Sea Warriors. Friendly reminder: the male protagonist is Vegeta, and this book is a spin-off of Dragon Ball, from the King of Saiyans. In the settings of this book and the previous one, for some reasons unknown even to the gods, there are countless parallel time and space in the Dragon Ball world. Among all parallel time and space, the seventh universe is the main universe. The remaining universes only exist in the main time and space that contains the complete universe. And in more time and space, only the seventh universe exists, and there is no universe other than the seventh universe. These spacetimes where only the seventh universe exists are called small spacetimes, while the spacetime that contains the complete universe is called main spacetime. This story takes place in 1 hour in the year 774 of the AI. Majin Buu, the strongest enemy in history, suddenly appeared and ravaged the Earth. Faced with its powerful and overwhelming force, the Earth was almost in despair. But in the end, thanks to the efforts of a group of Z warriors led by Son Goku, Majin Buu was defeated. Peace has returned to the world. But after that, only 13 years passed. The most vicious enemy has appeared again. This time, mankind no longer has a hero who can save the world. Piccolo, Son Gohan, Son Goten, Trunks, Krillin, Tien Shinhan, Yamcha and other Z warriors who saved the world died in battle one after another. 80% of all life on Earth dies within a day. The remaining people have realized that the end of mankind, no, the end of the entire world, is coming. On this day, in the ruins of the city once known as the Western Capital, a special antenna quietly rose from the broken walls, pointing towards the sun, greedily absorbing the sun's light and heat. At the other end of the antenna, 100 meters underground, a purple-haired young woman in work clothes was struggling to adjust the egg-shaped aircraft in front of her. Too slow. The energy filling rate is only 50%. At this rate, it will take at least 7 months to fully charge the energy. The purple-haired young woman shook her head. 7 months, she was not sure she could hold on that long. But when the purple-haired young woman's eyes fell on a photo next to the computer, her originally confused gaze became firm again. In that photo, there is a group photo of all the Z warriors who once saved the Earth and rescued the world from the crisis of Majin Buu. Trunks everyone. I will definitely revive you. A time machine? So this is your plan, Bulma? A voice suddenly sounded from behind Bulma. Without hesitation, she immediately pulled out an energy gun from under the table and pulled the trigger behind her. However, the energy gun that was powerful enough to kill a former soldier of Frieza's army instantly hit empty space. By the time Bulma reacted, a hand had already grabbed her neck and lifted her off the ground. The fatal feeling of suffocation instantly eroded Bulma's body. Bulma, tell me, where is Vegeta? I won't tell you. When Vegeta comes back, it will be the end of you. Bulma struggled. Ha ha ha, a defeated general, he will never be my opponent. Then why did you still look for him? Because you know that if there is anyone who can defeat you, it can only be Vegeta, right, Son-kun? Bulma looked at Son Goku in front of her and said the last words of her life. The next moment, the man in front of her broke Bulma's neck and threw her body aside casually. I told you not to call me by that name. My name is Kakarot. Cyan Kakarot. In the darkness, the man once named Sun Wukong sneered. At the same time, in the depths of the universe, extremely far away from the Earth, a spherical spacecraft of the same type as the one Son Goku once used has just crashed into the atmosphere of New Namek. When the sky was streaked with fireballs, the Namekians on the planet noticed this uninvited guest. Not long after the spacecraft crashed, several Nankians arrived at the scene. In the almost half-destroyed spacecraft, they found a dying man soaking in a bathtub-like device. He is seriously injured and is almost dying. A Nankian observed through the glass cover on the instrument. What should we do? Should we save him? But he could also be an evil alien coming for the Dragon Balls. Another fat Nankian said suspiciously. The Nankians who came to the scene were all strong and combat-ready men. The Nankians still remember vividly what happened on Old Namek. Therefore, after migrating to the new planet, the Nankians have always been wary of outsiders. But at this moment, a Nankian at the scene suddenly shouted in surprise. I recognize this man. He seems to be a friend of Son Goku. I remember his name. It seems to be Vegeta. When Vegeta opened his eyes, he found himself surrounded by a group of Nankians. Next to him, a young Nankian had just withdrawn his hands from his body. Noticing Vegeta looking towards him, the young Namek took a step back in fear and raised his hands. I was just healing you. Vegeta ignored him and looked around and asked, Nankians, where is your great elder? I'm here. Saiyan, long time no see. An old Nankian stepped out from the crowd. He is none other than the new great elder of the Nankians, Muley. Vegeta still had some impression of him. Regardless of his weak body, he stood up and said, Namek, I need to use your Dragon Balls. Elder Muley looked at Vegeta and said, Saiyan, if it is Goku and his children who ask for something, we will definitely agree to it. But I remember you. You once massacred an entire village of people. So I want to know first, what wish do you want to make to the dragon this time? Vegeta lowered his head and looked at his clenched fists. I need to make a wish to Shenron and ask it to tell me how to defeat Kakarot. That's all? Elder Muley was a little surprised. He knew who Kakarot was, and he also knew about the feud between Vegeta and Son Goku. So he couldn't understand why Vegeta came all the way to New Namek just for this wish. Vegeta raised his head, as if he had guessed what he was thinking. Namek, there is one thing you don't know yet. The Son Goku in your memory is already dead. The one on Earth right now is Kakarot, the evil Saiyan who can kill his own wife and children without mercy. And I, Vegeta, am the last warrior on Earth. If I can't defeat Kakarot, the entire universe will be destroyed in his hands. The end of the world happened just over a month ago. 3 years ago, Son Goku accidentally discovered Oob, the reincarnation of Majin Buu. In order to fulfill his original promise, Sun Wukong accepted Oob as his apprentice and guided him for 3 whole years in the boundless wilderness. But during a sparring session more than a month ago, something strange happened. Vegeta, who was in the western capital at the time, suddenly sensed that the aura of his nemesis Son Goku had changed. In Vegeta's perception, the aura of Son Goku, who was once more righteous and kind than anyone else, suddenly became more evil than Frieza in the past. The darkness and evil thoughts that seemed to come from the bottom of hell made Vegeta immediately drop everything and rush over. But when he arrived, he saw a guy who had given up the name of Son Goku and called himself Saiyan Kakarot. Once, when faced with a demon that wanted to destroy the earth, it was Son Wukong who stepped in to resolve the crisis. But when Son Wukong turned into a demon, there was no one who could resolve the crisis. Faced with Son Goku, who seemed to have become pure evil, Vegeta, Piccolo, and even the other Z warriors took turns to fight him, but they all failed. Son Gohan, who was once thought by Son Goku to be able to surpass him, was ruthlessly blown to pieces by Son Goku because he was unable to attack his father. This book has an alias, Dragon Ball. What if Son Goku became an evil villain? Original name, Dragon Ball, betting on the name of the Saiyan. Chapter 2, The Dragon and 039's Way. Unbelievable. That Mr. Goku actually killed Gohan? Great Elder Muley's eyes widened. All the Nankians present who knew Son Goku and Son Gohan opened their eyes wide in surprise, finding it difficult to accept the story Vegeta told them. Back then, almost all Namekians were killed by Frieza. If it weren't for the hard work of Sun Wukong and his son, perhaps everyone present here would have been reincarnated. Similarly, if it weren't for Sun Wukong and his companions, the Namekians would not have been able to find a new home. Therefore, in the hearts of all Namekians, the father and son of the Sun family are their eternal benefactors and most distinguished guests. But now, according to what Vegeta said, the son Goku who saved all the Namekians has now become a complete devil. How can this be? That's enough. We don't have time anymore. Suddenly, Vegeta's roar woke everyone up. Vegeta clenched his fists and shouted at Muley, Namek, bring all the Dragon Balls here immediately. Don't forget that Kakarot can teleport. Although I have restrained my aura now, if he senses me, he will be here in an instant. I understand. If what you said is true, this is indeed a threat to the entire universe. Elder Muley saw the seriousness of the situation and made a decision immediately. He ordered the elders of each village to send the Dragon Balls immediately. Soon, the villages scattered across the planet sent out messengers to transport the Dragon Balls and gathered all 7 Dragon Balls together. When the 7 huge Dragon Balls were put together, they immediately began to resonate and emitted flickering light. Vegeta looked at the Dragon Ball in front of him and suddenly thought of what happened many years ago. In the past, for these Dragon Balls, he and Son Goku's children traveled around and fought with Frieza and his gang on Namek. But in the end, he got nothing. I never thought that many years later, I would get what I wanted and have the opportunity to make a wish with the Dragon Balls. Vegeta, let's get started. Great Elder Muley said this and then began to chant a spell. After speaking a passage in Namek language that Vegeta couldn't understand at all, the 7 Dragon Balls burst out with a dazzling light. A golden beam of light shot straight into the sky. At the same time, darkness suddenly fell over the entire planet. In the darkness, the clouds were torn apart by an invisible force, and a strange dragon, which was many times larger than the dragons on Earth, revealed its true form. The voice of the Namek dragon named Porunga echoed in the sky like an ancient echo. Great Elder Muley, please tell me your wishes. I can fulfill 3 of them for you. Before Vegeta was about to speak, Elder Muley suddenly suggested, Mr. Vegeta, if what you said is true, we may be able to use Shenlong to restore Mr. Goku. Vegeta snorted and crossed his arms. I don't think this will work, but you can try. When Elder Muley saw that he agreed, he immediately made this wish to the Dragon Porunga. However, after a moment of silence, Porunga replied, Unfortunately, with my ability, this wish cannot be realized. Why? Elder Muley was stunned for a moment. Is it because Vegeta lied to us? Mr. Goku actually hasn't changed at all. With all his knowledge, this was the first time he had seen a wish that a dragon could not fulfill. So his first reaction was that Vegeta was lying. Porunga explained, No, the heart of the man named Sun Wukong is now filled with evil. I cannot fulfill this wish because his power has surpassed mine. It's actually because of this reason. Elder Muley couldn't help but mutter to himself. I knew it would be like this. The dragon on Earth said the same thing. There was a hint of compassion in Vegeta's eyes. The scene just now actually happened on Earth. In order to bring back the former Son Goku, Son Gohan and his friends went to the Temple of Heaven to find the Dragon Balls, hoping to borrow the power of the dragon to resolve the crisis. But Shenlong's answer at that time was exactly the same as the Namekian Shenlong's words. What's worse is that after that, Son Goku suddenly appeared and killed the new god Dend, making the Dragon Balls on Earth completely useless. This is also the reason why Vegeta traveled thousands of miles to New Namek. Although the dragon cannot change Sun Wukong back to his original appearance, it still has the ability to make the situation better. It was because Sun Wukong was afraid of the possibility of the dragon that he destroyed the dragon on Earth as soon as possible. Namek, now I can tell you my wish. The memory ended and Vegeta began to urge the other party. Elder Muley took a deep breath and then asked, Porunga, please let this Saiyan Vegeta have the power to defeat Son Goku. Upon hearing Elder Mealy's question, Porunga did not answer immediately, but fell into deathly silence. Vegeta frowned at the silence. Is it possible that Porunga cannot fulfill this wish? Suddenly, Porunga's red eyes turned golden, and then he broke the silence again. If we want to give this Saiyan the power to defeat Son Goku, there are 2 ways within my ability. So when Vegeta heard what Porunga said, he immediately raised his head and asked, "What's the solution?" "The first way is to make you immortal." Porunga replied, "Immortal?" Vegeta was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect that the dragon could really make people immortal. Back then, when Vegeta first went to Earth, he actually hoped to use the dragon to gain immortality and thus have a chance to defeat Frieza. But later, as time went by, this idea gradually faded away. I didn't expect that it would be brought up again by Porunga today. Vegeta asked, "If I have an immortal body, can I really defeat Kakarot?" Porunga's voice sounded again, "I can give you immortality, which is similar to the power of Majin Buu. Although there is a gap between your power and Son Goku's, as long as you have immortality, you have a chance to defeat him." But Vegeta's heart skipped a beat and his brows furrowed. "Just after you gain immortality, the Saiyan blood in your body will be changed. In the future, you will no longer have any chance of becoming stronger. Can you accept this?" Vegeta's heart sank and his body trembled involuntarily. As a prince of the Saiyans, his Saiyan blood is his proudest identity and the source of his constant pursuit of power. Becoming immortal is tempting, but if he has to give up his Saiyan identity if it were the Vegeta of the past, he would never agree to such a stupid thing. But when I think of the anticipation on Bulma's face before leaving Earth, Vegeta clenched his fists. "Shenlong, after gaining immortality, are you sure I can defeat Kakarot?" "As long as he can defeat Son Goku, he would rather not be a Saiyan." Porunga said, "Unfortunately, I can't be sure, it's just a possibility. But from what I know, Majin Buu on Earth has been killed by Son Goku since Majin Buu, who also possesses immortality, has not defeated Son Goku. Then after you gain immortality, the probability of defeating Son Goku should only be 50%. Vegeta was immediately disappointed. After making such a huge sacrifice, he only has a 50% chance of defeating Sun Wukong. Then what's the use of this immortal body? Chapter 3 Vegeta bet everything. Didn't you just say there were 2 ways? What's the other way? Vegeta asked. The dragon Porunga was silent for a moment before he spoke. Merge with a soul from another world. In this world, souls from other worlds appear occasionally. The souls I'm talking about come from a world that is completely different from ours. In their world, everything that happens in our universe is just the content of their book. So as long as you merge with this soul, he will definitely help you find the strength to defeat Sun Wukong. This time it wasn't just Vegeta, all the Nankians at the scene opened their mouths wide. This was also the first time they knew what Porunga said. There is another world in this world, and their world in each other's world is just the contents of a book. If it wasn't Shenlong who said all this, the Nankians present would definitely think it was nonsense. Vegeta asked, "What are the odds this time?" 100%. If there is really a possibility of defeating Sun Wukong, this soul will definitely be able to give you the answer. Compared with his previous immortality, this time Porunga's answer was very certain. Vegeta's eyes flashed with hesitation, and he asked in a deep voice, "What does it mean to fuse souls? Will I lose myself?" Porunga explained slowly, "Your original soul will merge with this soul to form a new soul. You will share everything, including memories, powers, and feelings. If your will is strong enough, you will be able to maintain control while gaining new powers." Vegeta's brows were furrowed for just a second before relaxing, his eyes extremely determined. "Okay, then I'll choose this method." Compared to Vegeta, the elder Murray beside him had a worried look on his face, muttering to himself in a low voice, "Strange, why is Porunga talking so much today?" "What did you say?" Vegeta asked. Elder Mealy shook his head and said, Vegeta, I think you should give it some more thought. What if after the fusion of souls, the soul from the other world takes the lead? Huh? Impossible. Vegeta pointed his thumb at himself. I am Vegeta, the Saiyan Prince. No one in this world can control me. Not Babidi, not even the souls from this other world. All he can do is hand over his knowledge obediently. Namk, give me a wish. Elder Muley took a deep breath and said, Okay Porunga, fulfill my wish. When Elder Muley expressed Vegeta's wish in Namk, Porunga said in a calm tone, This wish is very simple The red eyes of the Borunga dragon suddenly burst into an even brighter red light. Vegeta looked up, waiting for the soul fusion to occur. Suddenly, his pupils shrank sharply. Countless familiar yet unfamiliar scenes suddenly appeared in front of Vegeta's eyes. In these images he saw himself, Sun Wukong, and everything that had happened in his life over the past few decades. But in addition to the images he was familiar with, there were many things that seemed to be true but were not. God of Destruction, All Kings, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan 4. Under the surprised gaze of Great Elder Muley and others, Vegeta's eyes suddenly lost their luster and he fell backwards to the ground. Vegeta. Great Elder Muley ran over immediately. He immediately discovered that Vegeta's heartbeat had stopped. This is fortunately, the next moment, Vegeta's heartbeat sounded again in his chest. He, who had just been unconscious, gradually woke up and stood up from the ground. Looking at Vegeta, who stood up again, Great Elder Muley was a little unsure. Is it Vegeta, or some soul from another world, who is controlling the Saiyan's body in front of him now? Vegeta? Elder Muley asked tentatively. It's me, you made it. Success. Vegeta tilted his head, looked at his body, nodded, then shook his head. Yes and no. Now in my body, the two souls have merged into one, indistinguishable from each other. But I know that I am still Vegeta. Saiyan Vegeta. And Vegeta's mouth corners slightly raised. I already know how to defeat Kakarot. Thinking back to the battle with Majin Buu, Vegeta thought he finally understood the secret of Goku's power. That is the desire to protect the Earth at all costs. It is driven by this will that Sun Wukong can repeatedly defeat the strong with the weak and constantly surpass himself. But after this soul fusion, Vegeta discovered that the conclusion he had drawn in the past was only one of the reasons why Goku was so powerful. Another reason was everything he had experienced on Earth. The Earth used to be just an insignificant little place in the entire universe. The physical fitness of humans on this planet is far inferior to that of people on other planets. Their energy cannot be improved with age. Unlike other aliens who are born with the ability to control energy, he can use energy waves to attack instinctively. But it is also because of this that the people on Earth developed something like martial arts, and learned the martial arts of how to make the weak force exert the maximum power. And this is the gap between Vegeta and Son Goku in the past. Compared to Son Goku, Vegeta has always relied on his fighting instincts and combat experience to fight and improve himself. He may be a natural genius among the Saiyans, but Sun Wukong relied on his acquired martial arts and became a genius that surpassed Vegeta. Therefore, no matter how hard Vegeta tries to improve himself in the future, Son Goku will always be able to catch up and surpass him. If you want to bridge the gap between two people, there is only one way. My second wish is for Shenron to take me back in time. Back to when Earth had not yet been destroyed by Kakarot. Vegeta expressed his second and final wish. He hopes to go back to the time when the Earth was not yet destroyed by Sun Wukong, so that he can retrace Sun Wukong's path of cultivation. This wish cannot be fulfilled without traveling through time, because all those who once guided Sun Wukong have now died in his hands. This wish is beyond my ability. Controlling time is a taboo that even God does not allow. There is nothing I can do. Today might be the day when the Dragon Porunga suffers the most setbacks. The several wishes that Vegeta made one after another were all beyond its ability. Perhaps because of this, Porunga immediately added, "But I can give you another choice. Let your soul travel to the past and possess yourself in a parallel time and space. But this choice will come at a huge cost. It will cost you 2 wishes. In addition, your body in this time and space will be destroyed, and your soul will also be punished by the laws of time. Once you reach that time and space, you will lose all your abilities, and your memory will continue to decline. So Vegeta, your choice is I accept this choice." Vegeta's voice was firm and resolute. He knew that this was his only chance, and he would try it no matter how high the cost. Porunga Great Elder Mealy now fully understood Vegeta's determination and expressed his wish on his behalf. "Then as you wish." Porunga uttered a deafening statement. "Vegeta, I will send you to that world now. Before you leave, I'll give you one more piece of advice. After arriving in that world, find a way to find the dragon of that world. The punishment of the law of time is not inevitable. If you can find the dragon in another world, perhaps you can make a wish to restore your lost memories." Under Porunga's advice, Vegeta gradually felt that his soul was wrapped in a gentle force. His body slowly became transparent, and then dissipated into the air like bubbles. At the last moment, when Vegeta's consciousness disappeared, the face of his wife Bulma appeared in front of his eyes. "I used to think that planets, friends, and family were not important to me, but now I don't think so anymore, Bulma. Wait for me to come back. This time, I have to save this world." Chapter 4, Traveling Through the Year 740 of the AI Jai. Great Elder Murray, all of Vegeta's wishes have been fulfilled. Goodbye then. After his wish was fulfilled, Porunga immediately turned into 7 Dragon Balls and scattered all over Namek. The sky became bright again, and the brilliant sunshine shone down upon the earth. The Nankians at the scene seemed to be dreaming. A dream that is hard to tell whether it is a nightmare or a good dream. "Great Elder, let's go back first." The Namkians from various villages who were responsible for transporting the Dragon Balls began to say goodbye to Muri. Mealy was about to say goodbye to them, but suddenly he felt an evil presence nearby. This breath. Boom! At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared beside them. Seeing the familiar figure, some Nankians at the scene immediately smiled. "Mr. Sun. It's Mr. Sun Wukong." Seeing a Nankian approaching Son Goku, Mealy was horrified and immediately shouted, "Everyone retreat. Don't get close to him." He still said it was too late. As a flash of light stung everyone's eyes, a violent explosion suddenly sounded at the scene. When Mealy regained his sight, he found that most of the originally peaceful and harmonious village had disappeared in an instant. Disappeared along with the village were several Nankians who had just tried to get close to Son Goku, and about a dozen villagers behind them. Sure enough, Vegeta is right. You have become a devil," Mealy said tremblingly. Sun Wukong showed a wicked smile on his face. "Vegeta? He really has been here. Then the first question is, where is Vegeta now?" "Vegeta? Lord Vegeta?" In the darkness, Vegeta seemed to hear someone calling him. He struggled to wake up, but felt something was binding his soul, preventing him from moving. After some effort, Vegeta's consciousness finally broke through the darkness and opened his eyes. What I saw was a scene of devastation. There were ruins and broken alien bodies everywhere. "This is Vegeta. Did you fall asleep just now?" A slightly rude voice sounded nearby, a voice that was both familiar and unfamiliar to Vegeta. He turned his head and saw 2 Saiyans standing behind him. A boy with long hair. The other was a tall, strong man with short hair and a beard. Vegeta was horrified. "Nappa, Raditz, aren't you dead? And Nappa, when did your hair come back?" Nappa and Raditz looked at each other and saw the confusion in each other's eyes. "Lord Vegeta, are you sleepy?" Raditz asked cautiously. Vegeta lowered his head and looked at his shrunken body. Then he suddenly realized what was happening. "Did I really go back to the past? No, according to Dragon Ball, I did not travel through time, but my soul possessed myself in another time and space. And in this time and space, Vegeta is just a child. I have to get to Earth as soon as possible. Thinking of the reason why he had gone through so much trouble to come here, Vegeta stood up immediately. Nappa, where is our spaceship? Lord Vegeta, are you going to obey Lord Frieza's orders and return to planet Vegeta? Nappa looked confused. Vegeta turned his head sharply, his eyes widening. Frieza's order? Return to planet Vegeta? Master Vegeta, didn't Master Frieza issue a call for all Saiyans who were out to return to their planet a few days ago? Raditz rubbed his hands and explained, but didn't you refuse at the time and asked us to pretend we didn't hear it? Vegeta scratched his head. He had been feeling some headache since he woke up. This kind of pain is heart-wrenching, as if someone is tearing your soul apart. While enduring the severe pain, he finally recalled some things. Frieza's summons? It turns out that the time in this space and time is exactly the 740th year of the Age of Ages. That is the year when the Saiyan planet, Planet Vegeta, was destroyed. There are two versions of the year when Planet Vegeta was destroyed. One is 2. The new movie version mentions that Son Goku was 737 years old at the time, so it was changed to 3. This article uses the latter setting. Vegeta remembered that at that time, in order to destroy all Saiyans, Frieza ordered the Saiyans who had been on missions outside to return to planet Vegeta. And this order is actually a plot to kill the Saiyans. Vegeta would naturally not go to planet Vegeta. At this moment, he was unable to prevent the destruction of the Saiyan planet, because after traveling through time, Vegeta found that his body had completely lost its former strength. His current combat power is only 12,000. Going to face Frieza with this little fighting power is simply courting death. So he now has only one goal, to go to Earth. In order to defeat Sun Wukong from the original world, he started his own practice there. And Vegeta now has another reason to go to Earth. Just now, he discovered that part of his memory of the past had disappeared. In the original world, he remembered that after defeating Cell, he and Son Goku seemed to have fought against an unprecedentedly powerful enemy together, but now he had no idea who this powerful enemy was. Even in the memories merged from another soul, there was no memory of this period of time. This reminded him of the words of the dragon Porunga before he traveled through time. After traveling through time, you will be punished by the laws of time and space and continue to lose your memories. It seems that this punishment has begun to take effect. Vegeta doesn't want to travel through time and space with great difficulty only to forget everything about his original world. Then there is only one solution: go to Earth and find the Dragon Balls there. Use the power of the Earth Dragon to remove the punishment imposed on you by the laws of time and space. Thinking of this, Vegeta looked at Nappa again, with a hint of impatience in his tone. Nappa, don't make me repeat myself. Where is our ship? Nappa took a step back, not daring to argue with Vegeta anymore. Who made him? Even though he is 20 years older than Vegeta, his fighting power is not even half of his. I understand, Lord Vegeta, this way. Led by Nappa, the three flew towards the landing site of their spherical spaceship. On the way, Vegeta checked the original memories of this body. The memories in his soul that traveled through time would be constantly lost due to the law of time, but the memories of his original body would not. From these memories, Vegeta confirmed that not only had he traveled through time, but that it was exactly the same as what the Shenlong Porunga had said. It's traveling to another Dragon Ball world. The reason why he was so sure was that in the memory of his original body, Vegeta saw a guy he had never seen before. God of Destruction Beerus. That was an extremely powerful monster that the original Vegeta saw when he was 3 years old. But Vegeta himself was very sure that what he remembered when he was 3 years old had never happened. In other words, in his original world, the God of Destruction Beerus did not exist. Very good. Vegeta secretly clenched his fists. In a world where Beerus exists, it also means that Super Dragon Balls exist in this world. The biggest problem he faced this time was that he didn't know how to return to his original world after traveling through time. But if there are Super Dragon Balls, this won't be a problem. Bulma, wait for me. When I become stronger, I will come back with the power of the Super Dragon Balls. Chapter 5 Raditz and 039's Decision. The trio's spaceship is now in a desolate ruin. Seeing that this piece of wasteland was centered on the spaceship of the three people, Vegeta immediately guessed that this was all the work of Nappa. This idiot always likes to act recklessly. Nappa, Raditz. Seeing that the two were about to board the ship, Vegeta suddenly called them. Lord Vegeta. Snapped. Just as the two turned their heads, Vegeta suddenly stretched out his hand and used his energy to shatter the lens-type energy detectors on their faces. Nappa and Raditz were both shocked. The latter was so scared that he knelt on the ground, thinking Vegeta was going to kill him. Master Vegeta, I didn't do anything. Fool. Vegeta crushed his detector. There is Frieza's listening device on our detector. He must not know what I say next. Nappa and Raditz looked at each other and both felt that there was something strange about Vegeta today. There are listening devices on the detectors, and the Saiyans all know this. But Frieza is the superior of all Saiyans, so what does eavesdropping have to do with him? Lord Vegeta, what do you want to say? Nappa asked. Planet Vegeta will be destroyed by Frieza soon. He summoned all the Saiyans back this time just to catch them all in one fell swoop, so I don't plan to go back to Planet Vegeta anymore. Vegeta looked at the two men seriously, even though he could be indifferent to their deaths back then, and even killed the seriously injured Nappa with his own hands. But times have changed, and Vegeta today no longer has the same hostility as he did back then. Although these two guys were not good people, they were at least his former companions. In view of this, Vegeta plans to show them a way to survive. Going back to Planet Vegeta now will only lead to death, so I don't plan to go back. As for you, it's up to you. Master Vegeta, could it be that you are mistaken? Master Frieza would not be like this. We Saiyans have always been dedicated to Master Frieza's mission. Without us, the strength of his army will be reduced by more than half. Raditz looked incredulous and still didn't quite believe what Vegeta said. Nappa lowered his head as if thinking about something. If you don't believe me, go back and take a look. But don't even think about convincing others to resist Frieza, because that guy's fighting power is 120 million. 120 million. Raditz and Nappa both widened their eyes, their faces filled with despair. A combat power of 120 million. Even if we gather the strength of all Saiyans, we can't win at this time. Vegeta had already adjusted the destination data in the spaceship and was ready to set off at any time. He turned around and glanced at the two of them. So, what are your plans? I want to make it clear in advance that you should not even think about going with me. From now on, I will act alone. Raditz lowered his head, hesitated for a moment, and said, Lord Vegeta, I want to go back to Planet Vegeta. Even if I can't save everyone, at least I want to take my father, mother and brother away from there. Vegeta looked at Raditz with some surprise. I didn't expect this guy to value family ties so much. But after thinking about it, Vegeta understood. In the past, I always told Nappa and Raditz that I didn't care about relatives and friends. Raditz has always been by his side, so if he doesn't want to upset him, he has to pretend to be indifferent to family affection. Perhaps the current state is Raditz's true nature. Go ahead if you want to go. What about you? Me? Nappa raised his head and laughed at Vegeta. I want to go back and take a look, too. It's up to you then. Goodbye or never again. Vegeta closed the hatch and hit the start switch. After a violent vibration, the spaceship soared into the sky and disappeared in front of the two people. Looking at the sky, Nappa couldn't help but say, Raditz, Lord Vegeta actually said goodbye to me. Raditz also opened his mouth in disbelief. Yeah, I even suspected that I heard it wrongly. 3 days later. Star Vegeta. During this period, the spaceport on planet Vegeta was extremely busy, with spaceships landing every moment. In this grand scene that had not been seen for more than 10 years, Raditz and Nappa returned to planet Vegeta. Nappa, did you see it when it landed just now? Raditz looked up at the sky with a grim face. When he landed just now, he saw the fleet of Frieza's army hovering in the planetary orbit of planet Vegeta, seemingly carrying out some mission. Judging from the size of the fleet, the main force of Frieza's army should be here. Could it be that what Vegeta said was true? Does Frieza really intend to wipe out all Saiyans? I see. It seems that what Vegeta said is true. Nappa also looked grim, as if he was frightened by the situation before him. Then I'll take my leave first. Raditz said goodbye hastily and flew off in the direction of home. Along the way, Raditz saw many familiar faces, but almost everyone had a smile on their face, and no one realized that a huge disaster was about to happen. I can't save you, but at least I have to save my family. When he returned home, Raditz could smell his mother Jin cooking from afar. He rushed home and was about to say hello when he saw that his father Bardock was there too. Dad, why are you here? Raditz, aren't you out on a mission with the prince? Bardock smiled at his son. Time was running out, so Raditz got straight to the point. Mom and Dad, something happened. Frieza might want to destroy planet Vegeta. How did you know that? Bardock's eyes widened instantly. It's not that he didn't believe his son's words, but after returning to planet Vegeta, Bardock had always suspected that Frieza seemed to have other intentions towards the Saiyans. But at this moment, Bardock is still not sure what Frieza wants to do. However, Raditz's words gave him a wake-up call. If Frieza didn't want to destroy the Saiyans, it would be impossible to explain why he suddenly ordered all the Saiyans to terminate their mission and return to planet Vegeta. Here we use the Dragon Ball Super setting. Bardock does not have the ability to predict the future, but he discovered Frieza's plan because of his observation. Prince Vegeta told me, Dad, time is running out. Let's leave planet Vegeta as soon as possible. What on earth are you two talking about? Can someone explain this to me? Jine put her hands on her hips, interrupting their conversation. Raditz was afraid that Frieza would take action at any time, so he immediately told him what he knew. Hearing this, Jine looked at Bardock and asked, Do you think what he said is true? I'm afraid so. I heard that several teams were almost done with their missions and were called back temporarily. Bardock nodded, then asked Jin, Where is Kakarot now? In the incubator. Bardock, are we going to run now? If it was only her son who said the end of the world was approaching, Jine might still have some doubts. But since Bardock also said so, she completely believed what they said. Not yet. Bardock shook his head. We have to wait until night, until the Frieza army's ships reach the other side of the planet. Raditz, come with me to steal 2 spaceships, and then we'll leave planet Vegeta. Good Dad. Chapter 6 Nappa and 039's decision. Late at night, Bardock and Raditz stole 2 spherical aircraft from an old warehouse and carried them to a desert far away from the city. Raditz, where is Prince Vegeta? Bardock asked while flying. Me? I don't know. Prince Vegeta didn't tell us his plans, and he refused to let us go with him. Why doesn't he sound like the Prince Vegeta I remembered at all? Bardock asked in surprise. Huh? Raditz indicated that he didn't understand. Bardock scowled as he explained to his son, Prince Vegeta is a genius among the Saiyans. I heard that Frieza has always thought highly of him. If he knew that Prince Vegeta had escaped, he would definitely send people to chase him. If you were to follow Prince Vegeta at that time, it might be very dangerous. Raditz opened his mouth wide, so Vegeta is protecting us. That's impossible. That Prince Vegeta, that's why I said, this doesn't seem like Prince Vegeta did it at all soon. They arrived at a Gobi desert, which was hundreds of kilometers away from the Cyan City, so there was no need to worry about the spaceship being discovered when it took off. At this time, Jin was already here with Kakarot, who was only 3 years old. Kakarot was 3 years old at this time. Although he is still young, he already looks almost exactly like Bardock. Seeing his father and brother coming, Kakarot smiled happily and said, "Dad, brother." Bardock took Kakarot from Jin and hugged him gently, with a hint of reluctance on his face. But not long after, Bardock returned Kakarot to Jin. He opened a spaceship. Raditz, you have a single spaceship. Jin, you take Kakarot. 3 Saiyans would be too conspicuous. My original plan was to send Kakarot to a remote planet called Earth. But if you 3 are together, that place would not be suitable. So my plan now is to have you go to a place called Planet Cyril. It was once conquered by Frieza's army and has now been sold to a weak alien race. Frieza won't attack a planet he has already invaded. You will be very safe there. I also have a friend on that planet who will take care of you. Raditz was about to enter the spaceship, but when he heard Bardock's words, he immediately walked back. Dad, aren't you going to leave with us? Yeah, Bardock, why don't you join us? Jin held the child, also very confused. Your combat power is less than 1,000. Frieza won't care even if you run away. But I'm different. My combat power is over. There's no way he'll let me escape. Bardock then took out a detector. With the power of the detector, he quickly confirmed the location of Frieza's army. At this time, Frieza's spaceship was on the other side of the planet, which was a good opportunity for Jin and the others to escape. Hurry up. If you delay any longer, you will be in the attack range of Frieza's spaceship. Jin hesitated for a moment and nodded. She carried Kakarot and entered a spaceship and sat down first. Raditz, let's go. If you and Bardock are both wrong, we will meet your father soon. What if we are not wrong? Raditz clenched his fists and looked at his father. Don't make that face. Raditz, you've always been called a coward. From now on, Mom and brother will depend on you to take care of them. Make sure they're safe. Dad, I will. After watching his eldest son board the spaceship, Bardock waved goodbye to the 3 of them. Goodbye. You must survive. Take good care of Kakarot. Watch out for the Galactic Patrol. With a loud roar, 2 spherical spaceships rushed into the sky and quickly disappeared into the dark night. Meanwhile, planet Vegeta orbits. Inside Frieza's spaceship, Frieza sat in a flying device that looked like a baby carriage, looking at the Saiyan kneeling on the ground in front of him with a faint smile on his face. So Vegeta is planning to betray me, Mr. Nappa. No, that's right. The Saiyan kneeling on the ground was Nappa, who had returned with Raditz. But unlike Raditz, who fled in search of his family after returning, Nappa immediately boarded the spaceship again to meet Frieza after returning. His purpose was to report Vegeta's defection to Frieza. Lord Frieza, Vegeta actually framed you, saying that you were planning to destroy planet Vegeta. Even though I am his bodyguard, I cannot believe his unfounded accusation. A false accusation? That's not really a false accusation. I do want to destroy planet Vegeta, Frieza said with a smile. What? Nappa's body stiffened and cold sweat broke out on his body. Vegeta was not wrong. Frieza actually wanted to destroy the Saiyans? Then isn't he courting death by coming here to report this time? Nappa had never regretted as much as he did now. You don't have to be afraid. Since you came here specifically to report Vegeta, I understand your loyalty. You should stay with me from now on, Mr. Nappa. Yes, thank you very much. After surviving the disaster, Nappa was so excited that he fell to the ground. This performance made Frieza couldn't help but laugh out loud again. This Saiyan is really interesting. Lord Frieza, we found Vegeta's ship. He seems to be heading to a planet called Tiwi. At this time, a soldier from Frieza's army came forward to report. If we use the latest high-speed spacecraft in the Legion, we should be able to catch up with him when he arrives at Planet Tiwi. Planet Tiwi? Frieza narrowed his eyes. Lord Frieza, Tiwi is a backward planet on the border. It has few resources, and the technology that allows interstellar travel has just been born on the planet. Therefore, it is not a valuable planet. Next to Frieza, a yellow-skinned alien named Kikono explained. He is a scientist of Frieza's army and one of the elders of the army whom Frieza trusts. I see it seems our Prince Vegeta wants to hide on that planet. Frieza shook his head. What a pity. Mr. Nappa, you didn't know that I wanted to spare Vegeta's life. After all, you Saiyans are an interesting race. It would be a pity to kill you like this. It's a pity that now that Prince Vegeta knows my plan, I have no choice but to kill him to silence him. Frieza made a prompt decision and asked a group of his subordinates, "Everyone, is there anyone willing to help me capture Prince Vegeta? Regardless of life or death." Lord Frieza, I, Kyuyi, am willing to serve you. The person who spoke was an alien named Kyuyi with purple skin and a frog mouth. It's Mr. Kyuyi. Well, then I'll leave this task to you. Frieza nodded. He had heard that conflicts had often broken out between Kyuyi and Vegeta since Vegeta began to serve him. With Kyuyi's strength, it is indeed enough to deal with Vegeta. In addition, Mr. Nappa, you should also cooperate with Mr. Kyuyi's actions. You just arrived, and you also want to make a contribution, right? Of course. Thank you, Lord Frieza, for giving me the opportunity. Nappa immediately stood up and saluted. Then I'll leave it to you. Go ahead. Frieza waved his hand. Nappa immediately followed Kyuyi and prepared to leave. At this moment, a soldier suddenly stood up from the driver's seat and reported, "Lord Frieza, we just found 2 spaceships leaving planet Vegeta. They are probably Saiyans." Kikono asked, "How much fighting power do they have?" "The most powerful one has a combat power of 900, and the weakest has only 2. However, those 2 spaceships are now out of our attack range. If we want to attack, we must dispatch spaceships to chase them." Kikono looked at Frieza and asked, "Lord Frieza, do you want to chase him?" "It doesn't matter." Frieza sneered, "A little ant with a combat power of less than 1000, just run away. What matters now is to deal with Vegeta first." "Yes." Huh? Kikono placed one hand on the detector, as if he had heard some new news. "Lord Frieza, I just received news that Captain Jinyu, who was about to leave, seems to have taken the special forces to chase after the 3 spaceships." "Jinyu? Let him do what he wants," Frieza said nonchalantly. While Nappa was listening to the conversation between Frieza and the others, he was thinking in his heart, could the 3 Saiyans who escaped from the planet be Raditz and his family? Tesk, that coward, finally ran away with his family. A dignified Saiyan actually ran away like a rat. What's the point of such a person living? You might as well become a member of Frieza's army like me. What's more, even if he tried his best, it would be useless. The Jinyu force is the ace team in Frieza's army. Being targeted by those guys, I'm afraid Raditz's family is in great danger." At this time, Vegeta, who was sleeping in the spaceship, didn't know. Because of his few small actions, the story of this world has undergone tremendous changes. Chapter 7 Vegeta and -039's Countdown. As time passed, Vegeta's spaceship was only a stone's throw away from its destination, Planet Tiwi. After hearing the reminder from the spaceship's navigation computer, Vegeta, who had been in meditation, slowly opened his eyes. Meditation is a skill that Vegeta had already learned in his original world. When the Dragon Porn helped him travel through time, Vegeta's original strength and abilities all disappeared, including the fighting skills accumulated over decades, which were all lost in his new body. But Vegeta knew that with just some time, everything that was lost could be regained. Meditation is the ability that Vegeta rediscovered during his journey. Meditation is a way to calm the mind. It can improve the spiritual level of the human body through sitting quietly and even practice cultivation in meditation. In the original work, Krillin and Son Gohan relied on meditation to practice on their way to Namek due to limited conditions. Vegeta also mastered this technique in his original world, but he rarely used it. But due to current limitations, he had to rely on this practice method to pass the time. Through meditation, Vegeta has now regained the ability to perceive and control his energy. If someone were to observe with an energy detector at this moment, they would find that Vegeta's combat power had been deliberately suppressed by him from the original 12,000 to 100. However, while regaining some of his abilities, Vegeta discovered a very serious problem. That was the punishment for him by the law of time that the Dragon Porunga once mentioned. Vegeta initially thought that this kind of punishment was limited to losing his original memories. But as time passed, Vegeta discovered that the punishment was more than that. His fighting power is also fading. When he first crossed over, Vegeta's maximum combat power was 12,000. But after just a few days, his limit had dropped to 11,500. It seems that the longer time goes by, the more power I will lose if I don't find the dragon. Will my fighting power become lower than that of the people on Earth? Vegeta only felt that a terrifying countdown seemed to appear in his head. He was constantly urged to go to Earth as soon as possible. But right now, Vegeta can't just go there. He operated the computer and confirmed the time after he landed on TV. It's about the same as I calculated. I just don't know if Frieza will follow the plan. Beep. At this moment, a new prompt sound suddenly sounded in the spaceship, and then Vegeta heard the computer alarm. Beep, a communication message is trying to connect. Do you want to connect? Here they come. Are they the pursuers? Although he no longer had the detector, Vegeta still relied on his ability to sense air to detect several powerful auras rapidly approaching him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of them. Is it really Nappa? What an idiot. Vegeta sneered and answered the communication. Nappa, is this your choice, betraying me and joining Frieza? Lord Vegeta, I just made the wisest choice. You should do the same. Lord Frieza is willing to give you a chance to reform. As long as you go back with us, everything will still be in time. Nappa said. Humph. I will never be Frieza's servant again in my life. Vegeta snorted. Wow. Our great Saiyan Prince is so arrogant. Another voice came from the communicator. Although he didn't see the other person's face, Vegeta quickly found the owner of the voice from his memory. Kyuyi? So it's you who led the pursuit team this time? Vegeta sneered. Sure enough, this is all fate. I'll kill you again. Kill me again? Vegeta, you are crazy. My combat power is 15,000, far higher than yours. Kyuyi snorted coldly. Just surrender obediently. If you dare to resist, I will kill you myself. Then give it a try, Vegeta said, then cut off the communication call out. The next moment, Vegeta's spaceship rushed into the atmosphere of TV and fell rapidly towards the surface of the planet. About half an hour later, another high-speed spacecraft also streaked bright flames in the starry sky and landed towards the planet TV. Crunch. A few minutes later, the hatch of the spacecraft opened, and Kyuyi led Nappa and 3 other fighters out of the spacecraft. Not far from where they landed was Vegeta's spaceship. But at this moment, the hatch of the circular spaceship was wide open, and there was no sign of Vegeta inside. Lord Kyuyi, it seems that Vegeta has run away, Nappa said. Run away? Did he think he could escape from our grasp? Kyuyi sneered and pressed the detector switch, but cried out in surprise. Strange, why can't I see Vegeta's energy reaction? Is my detector broken? Based on the intelligence obtained in advance, Kyuyi knew that Vegeta's most recent combat power measured was 12,000. But right now, on the entire TV star, except for them, there is no signal with a combat power exceeding 10,000. Not to mention 10,000, there is not even a signal above 1,000. Impossible. His spaceship did land here. Master Kyuyi, Is there something wrong with your detector? Nappa said as he tried to use his detector to detect. His original detector had been destroyed by Vegeta, and the one he was using now was a brand new one that Frieza's army had just sent him, so it was impossible for it to malfunction. But this detection made Nappa dumbfounded. Could it be that my detector is also malfunctioning? There is really no response from Vegeta. You guys go search the area. Vegeta can't just disappear out of thin air. Kyuyi had just given the order when he suddenly saw hundreds of energy reactions occurring around him simultaneously in the detector. These energy reactions came from dozens of TUI spaceships and ground vehicles that were approaching rapidly nearby. Attention, aliens! We are the diplomatic delegation of the TUI government. We have noticed your arrival. The TUI government is willing to conduct peaceful negotiations with you. We have no ill intentions. No ill intentions. They are the natives of TUI. According to intelligence, these guys have just entered the interstellar age. It seems they are still a group of naive guys, said a soldier from Frieza's legion. Only a race like the TUI, which has just entered the interstellar age, would have friendly views of alien civilizations. If it were a race that has dealt with many alien civilizations, the first thing they would send out would not be a delegation, but an army. Because in this universe, there are many crises, and if you are not careful, the entire planet may be destroyed. Chapter 8 Vegeta and 039's Plan. Master Kyuyi, let me deal with them. Nappa asked with a flattering smile. Hurry up. We still have to find Vegeta's whereabouts. Kyuyi folded his arms. Contrary to what he said, he was not in a hurry. Because as they said before, Tivi is actually a planet with backward technology. As long as they keep an eye on Vegeta's spaceship, that guy won't be able to escape. I see. Nappa then took a step forward and looked around at the Tiwi people. Since you want to negotiate, just say hello. As he spoke, Nappa stretched out 2 fingers and raised his hand. What? In an instant, a powerful energy suddenly exploded around him. Except for the place where Kyuyi and his group were staying, the surrounding ground was suddenly submerged by rays of light. After a few seconds, the area within 100 miles had turned into a desolate ruin. The Tui people who had arrived at the scene earlier had all turned into scattered smoke and dust, along with their vehicles and the grass and trees on the scene. Ha ha ha, this is my response to your peaceful negotiations. Nappa laughed arrogantly, revealing the Scion's brutal character. Kyuyi wiped his nose with a handkerchief, looking disdainful. Rude monkey drip drip. Suddenly, Kyuyi saw a rapidly rising energy reaction in his detector. Before he could come to his senses, he saw a man suddenly rushing out of the ground. Amid the flying dust, 5 Kigong waves flew towards them. Boom boom boom. The 3 junior soldiers brought by Kyuyi were directly engulfed by the Kigong wave. Only he and Nappa survived. But the detectors on their faces were also damaged in the previous attack. Vegeta. Kyuyi's eyelids jumped, and he finally saw the true face of the attacker. It's Vegeta that they are hunting. Nappa. He suddenly killed 3 lower-level fighters, and the next moment, Vegeta's figure moved in front of Nappa and punched him in the stomach. Vegeta. I was wrong, don't kill me. Feeling that death was approaching, Nappa begged for mercy loudly and shouted with his last bit of strength. I've already given you a chance. Vegeta responded coldly. He didn't want to kill Nappa, his comrade in arms who had been with him for more than 10 years, as he did in his previous life. But unfortunately, Nappa finally chose to die. The next moment, a flash of light appeared on Vegeta's hand that pierced Nappa's stomach. A shock wave burst out from Nappa's stomach like a flying dragon rising into the sky. Finally, it crashed head-on into Kyuyi and his crew's high-speed spaceship. Completely destroy the spacecraft. After doing all this, Vegeta turned around and looked at Kyuyi. Kyuyi, are you just going to watch your men die like this? What subordinates? They are just a bunch of trash. Among them there is even a monkey that I hate. If they die, they die. I don't care at all. Kyuyi sneered. In fact, when Vegeta was about to kill Nappa just now, he had many opportunities to stop him. But he just watched from the sidelines. He just wanted to use Vegeta to kill Nappa. In Kyuyi's opinion, it would be better for all Saiyans to be exterminated. Nappa has surrendered to Lord Frieza, so it is difficult for him to take action on his own. Then let Vegeta clean up the mess himself. Now that the goal has been achieved, Kyuyi is ready to take action. Vegeta, what did you do before? Why can't the detectors see your energy reaction? I just suppressed my energy to the lowest level. You relied too much on the detectors and didn't even notice me hiding underground. Suppressed energy? Kyuyi was stunned for a moment, then he clapped his hands. As expected of the Saiyan Prince, you actually know this trick. But unfortunately, you can only suppress energy, but you can't increase your own energy. Let me tell you, my combat power is 15,000. It's far superior to yours. Even if you kill Nappa and the others with a trick, you're still no match for me. Kyuyi smiled coldly, with a gleam of contempt in his eyes. The next moment, he sent out a wave of energy heading straight for Vegeta. Vegeta barely dodges the energy wave before being hit. But even so, the huge explosion caused by the energy wave hitting the ground instantly sent Vegeta flying hundreds of meters. The shock wave caused by the explosion injured Vegeta, leaving a streak of blood at the corner of his mouth. Ha ha ha. Kyuyi put his hands on his hips and laughed wildly. See, Vegeta? This is the gap between you and me. Now, do you want me to kill you immediately? Or do you want me to torture you slowly and then kill you? Humph. Vegeta snorted coldly, but a scornful smile appeared on his face. Kyuyi, have you ever thought about why I came to Two-A Star? Huh? Kyuyi stopped laughing and frowned. Vegeta said, to tell you the truth, I had long guessed that Nappa might betray me. I also guessed that Frieza would definitely send people to chase him. My spaceship has a locator of Frieza's army. No matter where I run to, I will be caught up by you with your high-speed spaceship. That's why I specifically chose Tui Planet as a stopover for my journey. Ridiculous. Kyuyi laughed disdainfully after hearing this. Vegeta, what's the point of you saying so much? Do you think you can survive by escaping to Tui Planet? He shook his head in amusement. Foolish fellow. In the face of absolute strength, your calculations are in vain. Forget it. Just prepare yourself to feel the horror of death. Idiot. Vegeta spat out 2 words with disdain. Just like in the previous life, no matter which world he is in, Kyuyi is always a fool. I just said so much. Of course there is a reason. If you still don't realize this, then go to hell and regret it. Okay? Kyuyi was full of doubts. But the next moment, he finally understood what Vegeta meant. Suddenly, Vegeta turned into a giant ape more than 20 meters tall in front of him. Kyuyi looked back at the sky in shock, only to find that there was a full moon hanging high in the sky above the planet Tui. So, that's how it is. Kyuyi finally figured everything out. It turns out that Vegeta went to Tui on purpose because he calculated that today was a full moon night on Tui. He just said so much nonsense not to show off to himself. But waiting for the moon to appear. Even when Vegeta took advantage of the chaos to kill Nappa at the beginning, it was not because he was afraid of his own power. But he didn't want Nappa to become a giant ape. It turns out that all of this was Vegeta's plan. Chapter 9, Heading to Earth. Wait. Vegeta. Facing the huge ape in front of him, Kyuyi was no longer as arrogant and calm as before, and his face was filled with panic. When a Saiyan transforms into a giant ape, his combat power increases tenfold. Therefore, even without the detector, Kyuyi knew that Vegeta's combat power had exceeded 100,000. It's simply not something he can handle. I just thought of a good idea. How about I defect with you? I'm actually no. I've always been dissatisfied with Lord Frieza. He has a brutal personality, and working under him is too stressful. So why don't we join forces? As long as the 2 of us join forces, We won't have to be afraid of Frieza. Although he turned into a giant ape, Vegeta's royal blood allowed him to remain awake at all times. Looking at Kyuyi in front of him, he couldn't help but recall the scenes of his previous life. You keep telling lies, Kyuyi. It turns out that no matter which world you are in, you are always a liar. I didn't lie. Everything I said was true. Seeing that his lie didn't work, Kyuyi came up with another plan. Ah, Lord Frieza. Kyuyi suddenly looked behind Vegeta, as if he suddenly saw Frieza coming. He thought Vegeta would at least turn around to confirm so that he could take the opportunity to launch a surprise attack. Unexpectedly, Vegeta was completely indifferent. Instead, he raised his foot and stepped on Kyuyi. Wait. Vegeta, why don't you look back? The script is wrong. Boom! The huge foot crushed Kyuyi's body into pieces in an instant. The powerful force also penetrated the ground, creating a 1-kilometer-long crack in the ground. Not long after, relying on his royal blood, Vegeta took the initiative to release the giant ape form. Looking at the bloodstains at his feet, Vegeta rubbed them on the ground with a look of disdain. It's been a long way around, but now I can finally go to Earth. Raising his hand to destroy his own circular aircraft in the distance, Vegeta flew towards the nearest Tui city. When facing Kyuyi just now, Vegeta actually hadn't said a word yet. There was another reason why he chose to come to Tui Star. That is, locators are installed on all the spacecrafts of Frieza's army. If Vegeta flies directly to the Earth like this, it will not be long before the spaceship of Frieza's army will appear in the sky above the Earth. So in order not to reveal his true destination, Vegeta must first find another aircraft halfway. And TV Star is the best choice on his path. Soon after, Vegeta used his powerful military force to seize an interstellar ship from the Tui people who were still trying to wipe out the diplomatic mission. Although Nappa's previous actions were cruel, they really scared the Tui people. Therefore, Vegeta just appeared and quickly convinced the other party. Is this your best ship? In the Tui starship base, Vegeta frowned as he looked at the spaceship in front of him, which was known as the most advanced spaceship on the Tui star. My lord, this is truly our best spaceship. A Tui alien who looked like an officer had a sad face. They were not lying and had handed over the best starship. But after entering the coordinates of the Earth, Vegeta discovered that it would take a full 8 years to fly to the Earth using this best spaceship. After 8 years, Vegeta had no idea how much of his fighting power and memory would be preserved when he really arrived on Earth. Although there was an artificial hibernation device on the spacecraft, he couldn't be sure that it could help him fight against the punishment of the law of time. That's all. Vegeta had no choice but to accept it. He had just destroyed his own spaceship and that of Nappa and the others, so even if he wanted to choose another planet to find another spaceship, he couldn't do it. I just hope that the artificial hibernation device of the Tui people can work so that I can hold on and reach Earth. After getting a general understanding of the spacecraft's control system, Vegeta quickly boarded the spacecraft and slowly rose into the air. Then, under the watchful eyes of the Tui people, their most advanced spacecraft sailed into the depths of space. Looking at the vast sea of stars outside the window, Vegeta smiled bitterly. Earth, see you in 8 years. Afterwards, Vegeta lay down in the artificial hibernation device and soon entered a state similar to hibernation. Just 1 week after Vegeta began his journey to Earth. Planet Vegeta. This planet named after Vegeta is finally about to meet its end. Inside Frieza's spaceship in outer space, the alien Kikonos comes before Frieza. Lord Frieza, your appointment time has arrived. Mr. Kikono, is there still no news from Vegeta? Frieza asked back. Not yet. We haven't received any signal from Kyuyi for several days. Maybe there was something wrong with their spacecraft. It's also possible that they've been killed by Vegeta. Frieza interrupted Kikono's speculation. Kikono was stunned for a moment and said in disbelief, Impossible. Kyuui's fighting ability is far superior to Vegeta, and there is also Nappa who knows Vegeta well. Humph. Vegeta is the prince of the Saiyans after all. Perhaps he is much stronger than we know. Don't forget, Jinyu suffered because he underestimated the Saiyans. Frieza sneered. Previously, the Jinyu force encountered a small accident while chasing three escaped Saiyans, and even the experienced Captain Jinyu was defeated. After hearing this news, Frieza also gained a new understanding of the power of the Saiyans. Forget it, even if we can't kill Vegeta, it doesn't matter. No matter how hard these monkeys fight, they are still just monkeys after all. They can't turn the world upside down. But what happened to Vegeta and Jinyu also reminded me that these Saiyans are born to be rebellious. Although they seem loyal, they are also a fighting nation after all. Who knows, they might rebel one day. Let's take this opportunity to clean it up. Frieza smiled and maneuvered the aircraft under him to the outside of the spaceship. Slowly extend a finger. A red energy ball almost 1/3 the size of planet Vegeta immediately appeared at Frieza's fingertips. Hum hum. With a strange laugh, Frieza threw the energy ball at planet Vegeta. When a huge and ferocious fireball fell from the sky and covered the entire sky on planet Vegeta. All the Saiyans stood there in a daze, watching the end of the world approach with a confused look on their faces. A few brave Saiyans tried to stop them, but they were swallowed up by the planet-destroying bombs in the blink of an eye, leaving nothing behind. The planet-destroying bomb continued to fall downwards, eventually impacting the surface. Boom! The entire planet began to tremble as if it was letting out its final wail. Huge explosions sounded all over the planet, and buildings collapsed in the shock. Then, a huge crack appeared in the earth, magma gushed out, and the entire planet was engulfed in fire and destruction. In the end, planet Vegeta turned into a huge fireball and shattered into pieces in a series of explosions. On Frieza's detector, the life signals on the planet kept disappearing, and soon, the value representing the life reaction completely returned to 0. Now I can rest assured. Frieza smiled and turned an important page in the history of this world. Chapter 10 Son Gohan and -039's letter. Time passed, and the Tui Star spaceship carrying Vegeta was finally arriving at its destination after a long voyage of several years. Inside the originally quiet spacecraft, a mechanical sound suddenly rang out from the coffin-like hibernation chamber of the spacecraft. After a while, the sound gradually weakened, the hatch of the hibernation cabin opened, and a small hand suddenly stretched out from it. But after more than 10 minutes, the owner of the little hand had not crawled out of the hibernation chamber. After a long while, Vegeta, covered in cold sweat, finally stood up from the hibernation chamber. Gradually, the simple action of stepping out of the hibernation chamber caused him to sweat more. Damn it, my body and my memory. The 8 years of sleep seemed like just a moment to Vegeta. But he still noticed that even with the artificial hibernation device, the time penalty still left marks on his body. Although he had no detector, he could still feel that his combat power at the moment was probably less than 5,000. What is more serious is the damage to memory. Now, Vegeta, apart from knowing that his soul once came from another world, has forgotten most of the rest. He didn't know how he came from another world, and even forgot the purpose of coming to this world. The only thing he remembered in his heart was that he must go to the earth, land at a place called Bayazi Mountain, and find something called the dragon, so that he could restore his memory. Bayazi Mountain. Shenlong. Vegeta walked to the control room with difficulty and entered his landing location. The next moment, the time penalty appeared again and Vegeta fainted immediately. Soon after, boom, a beam of white light fell into an ancient valley like a meteorite or comet. The huge crash startled the surrounding animals and also attracted an old man who was picking herbs nearby. Not long after, the old man discovered a crashed spaceship in the valley, with wisps of green smoke rising from the hull. Oh my, what is this? Is the technology out there so advanced now? Son Gohan circled the spaceship and suddenly found a big hole at the bow of the spaceship. It was as if something inside the spacecraft broke through the spacecraft during landing and flew out. Son Gohan was about to search in the direction of the big hole when he suddenly heard a girl's voice above his head. "Jack, is this the demon you mentioned that came to destroy the Earth?" Son Gohan looked up in surprise, only to see a uniquely shaped aircraft hovering above his head. Inside the aircraft, there were a blonde girl, an old man, and a weirdo with eyes that looked like salted eggs. These three people are Bulma's sister Tais and her friend Professor Desheng, as well as the galactic patrolman Jack. "This is just the devil's spaceship. Hurry up and look for it for me. The devil must be nearby." Jake looked around, but unfortunately he had no eyelids, otherwise his eyes would have been wide open at this moment. This is not the first time that Jack has come to Earth. In fact, he came here 8 years ago. At the beginning, he received an assignment from the Galactic Patrol headquarters, saying that an extremely evil demon was discovered and was about to come to the Earth. In order to prevent the Earth from being destroyed by the devil, Jack rushed to the Earth. Later, due to desertion, Jack's spaceship was accidentally damaged and finally made an emergency landing on Earth. But later, Jake discovered that he had arrived 8 years early for this mission, because the spaceship hijacked by the devil was so outdated that it would take 8 years for it to land on Earth. Fortunately, although the mission was delayed, Jake is still good friends with Tacy and Dr. Desheng. Now, when the 8-year period is up, Jack has hurried back to Earth to carry out his mission. Bring that devil to justice. Pacha. At this moment, the sound of branches breaking suddenly sounded in the quiet forest. Everyone immediately looked in the direction where the sound came from, and then saw a boy with a tail, who looked only a few years old, walking out of the woods. The boy was wearing a yellow and white combat uniform, had spiky hair, fierce eyes, and an expression that said everyone owed him money. "Jack, is this the demon you were talking about?" Okay, it seems like Tais didn't notice that Jake's expression was completely stiff at this moment. "Vegeta. Why him? Those bastards at headquarters. They didn't even tell me that this demon was actually the wanted Saiyan Prince Vegeta." 8 years ago, Frieza's army issued a wanted order, offering a reward for the capture of Saiyan Prince Vegeta. Naturally, the Galactic Patrol headquarters also knew about this wanted order, and even Jack had seen it with his own eyes. Jake's eyesight allows him to see clearly objects several kilometers away, so he recognized the child's identity at a glance. "Saiyan Prince Vegeta, this is not a target he can deal with." Dr. Desheng, I suddenly remembered that there is a bottle of milk that I didn't put in the refrigerator. Let's go back quickly. After saying that, Jack took control of the aircraft and left without looking back. "Jack, you're not scared, are you?" "Shut up. I'm just worried about the milk." Oh my day, strange things happened one after another. Listening to the bickering coming from the sky, Son Gohan sighed as he walked towards Vegeta. Looking at the scar on Vegeta's head, he had already guessed that he should be the one that flew out of the spaceship. "Kid, my name is Son Gohan. Who are you?" asked Son Gohan. Vegeta raised his head while scratching his aching head. Although he didn't know why, he seemed to hate this name. "I'm Vegeta. I'm going to Bayazi Mountain to train to find the dragon to restore my memory. Have you lost your memory?" "This is Bayazi Mountain, but what is a dragon?" As soon as Son Gohan finished speaking, he heard a plop. The child in front of him had closed his eyes and fainted on the ground. Child, what's wrong with you?" Half a month later, Master Roshi, who was far away on an island, suddenly received a letter from his disciple Son Gohan. "Dear Master, it's been a long time since I last greeted you. My disciple recently encountered a strange thing. On Bayazi Mountain, he found a child from heaven. It seems that this child has lost his memory due to a hit on his head. But before he lost all his memory, he said that he wanted to come to Bayazi Mountain to practice. I am already old, but I have never accepted a disciple. Now that I have seen this child, I am also interested in accepting a disciple. Therefore, without the master's permission, I will accept this disciple. I hope the master will not blame me. But speaking of it, I can't actually teach this kid anything. His strength is so amazing. Without anyone teaching him, he can fly in the air. When he encounters a tiger in the mountains, he can easily release Kigong waves. My disciple is dull, so I can only teach him some boxing skills and some techniques to control his strength. Otherwise, this kid is too strong and has destroyed my family 3 times. If there is a chance in the future, please come and teach this kid in person, Master. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot to tell Master that this child's name is Vegeta. Is what Gohan wrote in this letter true or false? After reading the letter, Master Roshi couldn't help but think, I didn't expect that there would be such a martial arts genius in this world. Are you born with the ability to fly and release Kigong? Are there more and more martial arts geniuses out there recently? If that's the case, maybe I can try taking in a few more apprentices. Chapter 11 Blue-Haired Bulma. Earth. Bun Mountain. The early morning sun shone through the treetops and onto a young boy with spiky hair and a tail. He carried a big fish he had just caught and walked to a small hut. Son Gohan, time for breakfast. After shouting into the house, Vegeta shifted his gaze to the big fish, and suddenly raised his hand to release a Kigong wave at it. What? In an instant, a ball of dark blue energy waves gathered in Vegeta's palm and landed on the big fish. In just a moment, the big fish, which was originally raw, was cooked by the Kigong wave. It is good. Vegeta smiled, clenched his fists, and shouted proudly to the room, Son Gohan, come and see. I can now control my power perfectly. An old man with a ruddy beard and wearing an orange gown came out of the house with a smile. He came to the fragrant grilled fish, grabbed a handful and tasted it, then said with a sly smile, No, Vegeta, look, the meat inside the fish is also burnt. If you don't control the heat well, it means your control over your Kai is not perfect yet. Damn it! Vegeta stamped his feet angrily, walked to the grilled fish as if to vent his anger, and started eating it in big mouthfuls. We'll talk about practicing later. The most important thing is to fill our stomach first. Son Gohan was laughing on the side, but he was extremely shocked in his heart. Ever since he took Vegeta in a year ago, the child's progress has been visible to the naked eye. To be honest, in terms of strength alone, Son Gohan knows that he is no match for Vegeta. So he didn't understand why the child said he wanted to practice with him before he lost his memory. Fortunately, after the contact, Son Gohan also discovered Vegeta's problem. That is the lack of control over power. So in this year, he has been guiding Vegeta in his control of strength and energy. In the beginning, he was completely unable to control his power and would destroy things in the house at will, but now he can even suppress his energy to the point where he can use it to grill fish. What an amazing child! I have almost nothing to teach him. Maybe it's time for him to find his own master. Just then, the two suddenly heard the sound of a car approaching nearby. Huh? Someone's coming. Son Gohan couldn't help but feel curious. He lived alone in the mountains, and except for a group of strange guys and Vegeta he met a year ago, he hadn't seen other humans on Bayazi Mountain for a long time. Vegeta, go see who's here. Don't keep telling me what to do. Why don't you go yourself? Although he said this, Vegeta still walked towards the direction where the sound came from. Son Gohan watched him go away with a smile, thinking that although this child has a kind personality, he is a little too stubborn and he can't correct it no matter how hard he tries. It's getting closer. The Dragon Ball is right in front. An off-road vehicle was approaching from afar. Bulma, who was just 16 years old this year, was driving while looking at the Dragon Ball radar in her hand to confirm the direction. Not long ago, Bulma accidentally found a 2-star Dragon Ball at home and learned the legend of the dragon. Just because of such a ridiculous reason as wanting to find a Prince Charming, Bulma embarked on a journey to find the Dragon Balls. Bayazi Mountain is her first stop. The car was driving, and Bulma suddenly saw something flying towards the front. Is it a human? Bulma rubbed her eyes and was about to confirm whether she had seen it wrong when a boy with a tail suddenly appeared in front of her on the road. Kai Bulma quickly stepped on the brakes, and the tires rubbed violently on the mountain road, and she finally avoided a collision. Oh no! Did we run into bandits? A man suddenly appeared in the wilderness, and Bulma immediately thought that she had encountered a bandit. She hastily opened the glove box and pulled out a pistol. Damn bandits! Get out of my way! What bandits? How could there be human voices in this iron box? Vegeta was feeling strange as he looked at the SUV that suddenly stopped in front of him. Bang, bang, bang! A series of gunshots rang out. The next moment, Vegeta felt as if he was bitten by a mosquito. He reached out his hand and actually caught a bullet. Although he didn't understand what it was, Vegeta sneered. You monster, are you challenging me? I haven't encountered a beast that dares to challenge me in Bayazi Mountain for a long time. Prepare to die. Vegeta casually threw out a Kigong wave, which instantly pierced through the glass of the SUV. The blue and white Kigong wave penetrated the car body and finally exploded a few meters away from the SUV. Seeing the billowing smoke behind her, Bulma was stunned. Mom, I encountered a monster. Are you still alive? Although I only used 1% of my strength just now, you are still the first monster in the past 6 months who can withstand my attack and not die. Vegeta sneered, and a ball of light condensed in his hand again. Bulma in the car saw this and immediately opened the door and jumped out of the car. No. Don't kill me. I'm not a monster, I'm a human. People. Vegeta looked at Bulma in front of him, and the energy in his hands suddenly dissipated uncontrollably. He seemed to have seen something incredible and his whole body began to tremble. Bulma. How, you know me? Bulma looked confused. How does this guy in front of me know her name is Bulma? Among the people I know, there has never been any weirdo with a tail that can shoot cannonballs out of thin air, right? I don't even know you. Vegeta shook his hands, driving away the inexplicable emotion from his heart. Although he didn't know why, after seeing the girl in front of him, Vegeta had a special sense of familiarity, as if he had seen Bulma in front of him before. But he was also very sure that he must have made a mistake, because the girl in his memory should have purple hair, not blue like the person in front of him. Are you a bandit? Bulma was a little scared at first, but after seeing that the person in front of her was just a child who looked younger and shorter than herself, she gradually calmed down. Bandit? What is that? Can we eat it? After hearing Vegeta's answer, Bulma finally realized that she was wrong. Forget it. Are you someone who lives here? Yes. My house is just ahead. Vegeta pointed to the road behind him. When Bulma saw the direction he pointed, her eyes suddenly lit up. Isn't that the location of the Dragon Ball? Hey, shorty, my name is Bulma. Can you take me to your house? I'm looking for something, and it might be at your house. Don't call me shorty. My name is Vegeta. Vegeta? Are you from Zidu? But I've never seen anyone with a tail in Zidu. Zidu? What is that? How come you don't know anything? You're such a bumpkin. And just like that, Vegeta and Bulma of this world met for the first time. Chapter 12 Vegeta and 039's Great Adventure. Not long after, Vegeta led Bulma to the hut on Bun Mountain. Looking at the small house, Bulma couldn't help but complain. Is this your home? It's even smaller than my toilet. Toilet? What's that? Vegeta replied. You don't know this? The toilet is a place for convenience. Vegeta laughed when he heard this. So this is what toilet means. Then this Bun Mountain, except for my house, is my toilet. Ha 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 ha. Isn't it much bigger than your toilet? Bulma was speechless. Why is this little dwarf so competitive? Stop talking, son Gohan. Come out quickly, there are guests. Vegeta shouted. I'm coming. After a while, the white-haired and youthful son Gohan came out. Seeing the pretty young girl in front of him, he immediately smiled and said, "Oh, what a spirited girl. There are so few beauties like her on Bayazi Mountain." Beauty? Are you talking about me? Grandpa, you really have good taste. Compared to Vegeta, Bulma immediately felt that Son Gohan looked much more pleasing to the eye. Afterwards, Son Gohan personally made a pot of tea for Bulma. After introducing herself, Bulma told her the purpose of her visit. So this is the bead you are looking for? Son Gohan took out the 4-star ball and said, I picked this ball up in the mountains before. I never thought it would be such a magical thing. Great. It's actually a 4-star dragon ball. Bulma pulled 2 dragon balls out of her bag and explained, I found this 2-star ball at home, and the other 5-star ball was found in a mountain. At first I didn't know what it was, so I spent a lot of effort asking around and finally found the answer from an ancient document. These glowing beads are called Dragon Balls, and there are 7 of them. It is said that if you collect all 7 Dragon Balls, you can summon a dragon that can fulfill any wish. Shenlong. Son Gohan's eyes immediately narrowed slightly. He remembered that a year ago, when Vegeta had not completely lost his memory, he seemed to have mentioned the name of Shenlong. So this is what he meant when he said that. Son Gohan suddenly realized and smiled. So little girl, you want to take this Dragon Ball from us and call on Shenron? Yeah. Bulma nodded without any doubt. In that case, I am happy to give you the Dragon Balls, and I will also let this child named Vegeta go with you to protect you. You are a beautiful and weak girl, and it is too dangerous for you to travel thousands of miles to collect 7 Dragon Balls without anyone to protect you. Yeah. Bulma nodded repeatedly, thinking that what Son Gohan said was absolutely right. It is indeed very dangerous for a girl like her to go out. Before, while searching for the 5-star planet, Bulma was almost eaten by wild beasts in the mountains. It would be much safer if there was someone to protect us. But I have one more condition on my side. Son Gohan said again. Bulma asked, what are the conditions? I hope you can make a wish to the dragon to restore this child's memory. Recovering memories? So this Vegeta has lost his memory? No wonder he looks so stupid. Bulma thought about it for a moment and then nodded and agreed to Son Gohan's request. Although Vegeta has lost his memory, he is extremely powerful. I will be much safer with such a bodyguard following me. As for making a wish, after I collect all the Dragon Balls, it's not up to me to decide what wish to make, right? Grandpa, I promise you. Thinking of this, Bulma smiled and agreed. Son Gohan looked at the girl with a smile. Although he guessed some of her thoughts, he did not point them out. But before leaving, Son Gohan secretly pulled Vegeta aside and gave him some instructions. Vegeta, if you really summon the dragon, remember to make a wish to restore your memory. This is what you said to me when you still had your memory. Don't forget it. I understand, old man. I also want to know who I am as soon as possible. Vegeta replied. And this, Vegeta, you should take it too. Son Gohan took out another stick tube and handed it to Vegeta. What was in this stick tube was, of course, his Rui Jingu Bang. Vegeta was a little disgusted. Didn't I say I don't need this thing? A genius like me doesn't need weapons at all. Son Gohan smiled and said, yes, but this is not for you. It is a token. Vegeta, when this trip is over, you will go to see my master, Master Mutant. With your current strength, I have nothing to teach you. If you still want to practice, you have to go to him. This is the token that will allow him to recognize you. Wushin. Then I'll take it first. Vegeta once heard Son Gohan mention his master, Sensei Mutant. Although he had lost his memory, Vegeta's interest in the strong was instinctive. Soon, Bulma and Vegeta rode out of Bayazi Mountain on a motorcycle. Bulma set out on her journey early in the morning, and except for the time when she met Vegeta, She had already driven for several hours. Now that I am basking in the warm sun above my head, I can't help feeling a little sleepy. Vegeta, please drive the car for me. Huh? Me? Don't you know how to ride a motorcycle? Of course, Vegeta gritted his teeth and switched seats with Bulma, then started the car. Hey, you riding well? Bulma was also a little surprised to see that the car was running very smoothly. She was originally a little worried that Vegeta was just talking big, but she didn't expect that he actually had some strength. Of course. I'm an elite. Elite? What elite? Vegeta scratched his head. I don't remember. Bulma remembered what Son Gohan said before. So you really have lost your memory? But who are you? I have never seen anyone with a tail. As she said that, Bulma pinched Vegeta's tail with a curious look on her face. Vegeta, who was originally concentrating on driving, suddenly felt that he had no strength left in his body. Stupid idiot, let go. What? Let go. Let go. Vegeta, who had lost his strength, was completely unable to control the motorcycle and could only watch as the motorcycle crashed into a large tree on the side of the road. Bulma immediately became angry when she saw yet another vehicle destroyed by Vegeta. She had been away for only a few days when she lost her means of transportation, and all of them were destroyed by Vegeta. You idiot! Didn't you say you were an elite? Do elites also bump into trees? You stupid woman! You were the one pinching my tail. How could I? Vegeta also looked unwilling. The two glared at each other fiercely, and Bulma suddenly seemed to have thought of something and said, Wait for me here, I have something to do. What are you doing? You idiot, I need to go to the bathroom. Bulma yelled with a red face. Vegeta suddenly realized, so you want to pee? Shut up. Bulma ran away with an unhappy look on her face. This bumpkin, taking him along on the trip might have been a wrong decision. Bulma was looking down on Vegeta, and on the other side, Vegeta also frowned. This troublesome woman has to run so far just to pee. I really can't understand why I had such an inexplicable liking for her before. Chapter 13, Familiar Feeling. Yeah. Not long after Bulma left, a scream came from where she peed. What happened again? Vegeta walked over impatiently and saw a huge pterodactyl grabbing Bulma. What are you doing? Vegeta raised his eyebrows and immediately glared at him with murderous eyes. The pterodactyl, who was about to fly away, was startled by the terrifying look. Are you this woman's companion? Companion? I don't have any companion. She is someone I just met. Vegeta replied. Oh, then this is none of your business. I'm a friend of this woman and I have something to talk to her about, right? The pterodactyl wrapped its tail around Bulma and asked her while gently applying force with its tail. Yep. Bulma felt threatened by the pterodactyl and nodded quickly. Tusk, if you want to talk, hurry up. Vegeta snorted coldly and prepared to leave. Wait, just wait for us here, said the pteranodon and tied Vegeta to the tree with a rope. Vegeta looked puzzled and asked, Why did you tie me up while you were having a conversation? And it's just a rope, what good is that to me? Strange guy. The pterodactyl tied the rope and then flew up with a big laugh. Ha ha ha. What an idiot. I haven't tasted a woman's flesh in a long time. Today I can finally feast on it. Bulma saw that Vegeta was so stupid, and her anger finally overwhelmed her fear, and she cursed. Vegeta, you idiot. Come and save me. I'm about to be eaten. What? You wanted me to save you? Why didn't you say so just now? Vegeta easily broke the rope, flew into the sky, and scorched the pterodactyl with a wave of energy. Idiot! Save me! As soon as the dead pterodactyl let go, Bulma rushed towards the earth. Just as she was about to kiss the ground firmly, Vegeta reached out and grabbed her in time. But Bulma, whose life was saved, still couldn't help but scold Vegeta. Idiot! 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 I peed myself. Troublesome woman. Vegeta looked helpless. Because of this episode, The two had to interrupt their journey early today and set up camp in this remote wilderness. As the daughter of the Universal Capsule Company, Bulma naturally cannot sleep in the wild. She directly conjured up a capsule house and rushed into the bathroom inside. But to Vegeta, who had lost his memory, the house that Bulma created seemed like magic. Although this woman is weak, she knows a lot of things, right? Vegeta, with a curious look on his face, toured the house for a while and then saw Bulma walking out wrapped in a bath towel. Vegeta, go wash yourself too. You stink. How long has it been since you last showered? What a stench. This is the breath of a strong man. You bastard, hurry up and take a shower, or you'll sleep outside today. All right. Vegeta went into the bathroom while muttering troublesome woman. But he had been in there for a long time, and Bulma didn't see Vegeta come out. Instead, she heard Vegeta's screams intermittently. It turned out that this guy who was too proud didn't know how to get the hot water in the bathroom and was accidentally scalded by the boiling hot water. You bumpkin. Bulma had a headache and had to give Vegeta a bath herself. Anyway, in her opinion, the short Vegeta looked like a child under 10 years old, and there was nothing to be ashamed of. Vegeta has lost his memory, and there is no difference between men and women for the time being, so he doesn't think anything of it. What's more, he always had a strange feeling that it was natural for Bulma to give him a bath. While taking a shower, Bulma saw Vegeta's tail swaying back and forth, and remembering the car accident, she couldn't help but ask, Vegeta, is your tail real? Of course it's true. Don't touch it again. My tail will become powerless if you grab it. Bulma laughed immediately, haha, so this is your weakness. I finally discovered it. Stupid. How could I have any weaknesses? At night, after dinner, the two prepared to go to bed. Although she didn't care much about giving Vegeta a bath, Bulma was very concerned about two people sleeping in the same bed and insisted that Vegeta sleep on the floor. As for Vegeta, he didn't care much. Sleeping doesn't matter where you sleep. However, in the middle of the night, Vegeta suddenly got up in a daze. He glanced at Bulma lying on the bed, then drowsily climbed onto her bed and lay down beside Bulma. In a daze, Vegeta just felt that he should sleep in this position. The following night, Vegeta slept more peacefully than he could remember. Early in the morning, the first thing Bulma saw when she opened her eyes was Vegeta's sleeping face. Bulma, who had never slept with a boy since she was a child, wanted to scream the first moment. But she soon discovered that Vegeta seemed to be sleeping in the same bed with her. Apart from that, nothing happened. Looking at Vegeta, who was still sleeping soundly, Bulma couldn't help but sigh. There's nothing I can do. I'll let you go this time. Okay. Bulma suddenly put her head in front of Vegeta. Come to think of it, this kid looks like he's trying to be strong even when he's sleeping. How funny. What should I do? I seem to be lost. At this time, not far away, a short figure was walking in the wilderness. As I walked, I couldn't help but sigh. If he hadn't wanted to show off to those girls, why would he have to suffer such a punishment? Now, let alone that master, he didn't even have a clue where he was. Taking another look at the crude map in his hand, the figure couldn't help but frown. What should we do? Should we give up? After all, even if we invite the expert, he may not be a match for the king's army. Just then, he suddenly saw a house in the wilderness ahead. Someone. In joy, the figure immediately dragged his tired body and ran towards the light. Arriving at the front door, the figure was about to knock when he heard a quarrel coming from inside. Bulma, can't you take out some meat? I want to eat meat. Meat! Eating meat for breakfast will make you fat. How can I, a lovely beauty like me, eat that? I don't care. If you don't have meat, I'll go find it myself. Are you arguing? Is it appropriate for me to knock on the door now? As the figure hesitated, the door suddenly opened. The figure guarding the door was suddenly hit in the face by the door and fell backwards to the ground. Huh? That's great. Vegeta looked at the figure lying on the ground in front of him and turned back happily. Bulma, are you sure you don't want to eat meat? Then I will eat this pig myself. Chapter 14 Bulma. Vegeta, are you jealous? Pig. What pig? Bulma turned around and just saw Vegeta walking and dragging a short pig-headed man. Wait. Vegeta, you want to eat him? Is there a problem? You want to eat too? Vegeta opened his 5 fingers towards the pig-headed man, preparing to use Qigong to roast him. You idiot. He is a half-orc. Bulma hit him hard on the head. Although Vegeta didn't feel anything, he still asked, can't we eat orcs? Of course not. Bulma was speechless. On Earth in the Dragon Ball world, orcs are also considered a species like humans. In other words, if Vegeta ate this pig-headed man, wouldn't it be no different from eating a human? Where am I? At this time, the pig-headed man finally woke up. As soon as he opened his eyes, his eyeballs immediately turned into 2 hearts, staring at Bulma in front of him. Because Bulma had just woken up and was still wearing the tight pajamas she wore last night, although not much was exposed, the exposed long legs were enough to make the pig-headed man's eyes pop out. Beauty, my name is Wulong, marry me. Oh, although Bulma was a little embarrassed, she was also very proud. Is my beauty so amazing? This little pig would propose to me as soon as he opened his eyes. Cough, cough. At this moment, a cough interrupted the 2 of them. Vegeta said coldly, you pig, do you want to be eaten by me? Ah. Wulong was confused. Bulma snickered. Vegeta, are you jealous? I didn't. I was out hunting. After saying that, Vegeta ran out with a red face. Bulma was still secretly delighted, thinking, this boy can also be shy. Tilda. A strange sound suddenly interrupted Bulma's thoughts. Wulong blushed and said, excuse me, is there anything to eat? I'm starving. So, Bulma fed the nutritious breakfast originally intended for Vegeta to Wulong. Wulong explained his purpose while eating. I'm from the kingdom of Gyuramans in the west. I was asked by someone to go to a place called Bayazi Mountain to look for a martial arts master named Son Gohan. Son Gohan? Why are you looking for him? Bulma asked. Wulong said, the kingdom of Gyuramancy used to be a country rich in rubies, but recently the king there began to dig rubies on a large scale to raise military funds in order to rule the world, and the local people were driven out of their homes. I went to Bayazi Mountain in the hope that Son Gohan could help and rescue the people there. Wulong spoke in a righteous manner, but he actually concealed one thing. That is, the reason why he made a long journey was actually because of a bet he made with the girls in the village. They made an agreement with Wulong that if Wulong could find Son Gohan, they would marry him. So in fact, Wulong was tempted by beauty and that's why he made this long journey. So that's it. Bulma nodded, but suddenly remembered that the next Dragon Ball seemed to be in the direction of the Gyuraman's kingdom in the west. She then found her Dragon Ball and asked Wulong, have you seen this thing? Unexpectedly, Wulong actually nodded. I've seen it. It seems that the king of the kingdom of Gyuramans is also collecting this thing in addition to rubies. What is this? A gem? Almost. Bulma laughed it off, but she didn't expect that Wulong actually knew what Dragon Balls were. You're kidding. Isn't this the Dragon Ball that can grant any wish? Bulma smiled awkwardly after being discovered and quickly changed the subject. Wulong, you don't have to look for Son Gohan. I have an expert here who can help you. Master? Who is it? As soon as Wulong finished speaking, he felt the ground shake violently. When he rushed out of the house, he saw Vegeta standing next to a mountain of dinosaur corpses. Seeing the 2 of them, Vegeta immediately frowned. This is my breakfast. There is no share for you. He killed him alone? Wulong asked in surprise. Bulma smiled and said, yeah, he's the expert. How's that? Pretty impressive, right? Wulong swallowed hard and nodded. The kingdom of Gyuramanth was originally a peaceful place, famous for the abundant rubies produced there. However, one day, a man named Dr. Willow suddenly appeared beside King Grumith. It was at his instigation that the kingdom of Golements began to mine rubies on a large scale to expand its military, as if it was ready to occupy the world at any time. At this time, in the deepest part of the kingdom's palace, a huge monster was greedily eating a table full of delicious food in front of him. This huge monster had purple skin, and its body was covered with pus-filled sores. Its face, with a bloody mouth almost unrecognizable as a human. He kept stuffing various dishes into his stomach, but it seemed that he could not satisfy his appetite at all. In the end, the giant monster suddenly roared and swept all the delicacies in front of it to the ground. No, no, no matter how much of these things I eat, they will never satisfy me. Dr. Willow, Dr. Willow. A moment later, an old man with a prosthetic left eye walked in. Your Majesty, you are looking for me? The monster, whose true form was King Grumith, shouted. Dr. Willow, has the Dragon Ball radar you mentioned been built? How long will it take me to collect all the Dragon Balls and make a wish to Shenlong? It's almost done, Your Majesty. Dr. Willow smiled slightly. The Dragon Ball radar has already begun to be assembled. As we speak, it should have been activated. Then hurry up. Ordinary food can no longer satisfy me. Only the Dragon God can give me food that satisfies me. As soon as the Dragon Ball radar is completed, send people to start collecting it. I will give you as many soldiers as you want. Okay, Your Majesty. Dr. Willow then bowed and left. But there was a disdainful smile on his face. Once all the Dragon Balls are found, Groomies will no longer be valuable, because he had no idea that it was Dr. Willow himself who turned him into a monster whose appetite could not be satisfied by any food. The king was originally just an ordinary man, but without his knowledge, he was transformed into the monster he is today by Dr. Willow using biochemical technology. Willow's goal is to use the ruby resources of the Gyuraman's kingdom to build an army to assist him in finding the legendary Dragon Balls. Dr. Willow's purpose in wanting the Dragon Balls is to use the power of the dragon to obtain the smartest mind on Earth and complete his cyborg experiment. Just then, one of Willow's men suddenly ran over. Dr. Willow, the Dragon Ball radar is responding. Really? Do you know the whereabouts of the other Dragon Balls? Dr. Willow was not surprised. After all, he designed the Dragon Ball radar himself. I know, but right now there are 3 Dragon Balls that seem to be approaching us. 3 Dragon Balls are approaching? Could they be explorers who are also looking for Dragon Balls? Send out the troops immediately. Bring the Dragon Balls back to me. Yes. Chapter 15. Is that boy a monster? Bang, 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 bang. Ah. On the border road of the kingdom of Gyuramant, Bulma, who was driving, couldn't help but scream. The car window in front of her had just been pierced by a bullet. The bullet grazed her hair and lodged in the seat, and just outside the window was a densely packed army of dozens of tanks. These tanks directly blocked the road, forcing Bulma to stop the car. Oolong! What the hell is going on? Bulma, with a pale face, roared like thunder. Wulong was also shocked. They are the army of the kingdom of Gyuramans. Of course I do. The question is, why did they attack us? I do not know either. Wulong curled up in his seat with his head in his hands, feeling that he was doomed this time. At this time, trumpets sounded from the army in front. Listen, everyone in the car, hand over the Dragon Ball immediately. So they came for the Dragon Ball. Bulma immediately guessed that the Gyuramant's kingdom might also have a Dragon Ball radar similar to hers. Just then, Vegeta, who had been sitting in the passenger seat, yawned, rubbed his eyes and asked, "Are we there yet?" It seems that Vegeta was dozing off just now. Bulma kicked him in frustration. Vegeta, we're being attacked. Go out and kill them. Attack! Vegeta was still a little confused and hadn't fully woken up yet. The Gyuraman's kingdom has the Dragon Ball radar. They know we are coming. So this is how Vegeta sneered and got out of the car. Since their army has arrived, are we very close to the Dragon Ball? Bulma, where is the palace of the Gyuraman's kingdom? What do you want to do? Bulma asked, but still pointed him in the direction with her hand. Of course I'll just kill their boss. I don't want to waste any time. A ball of energy suddenly burst out from Vegeta's body, as if his whole body was on fire. The next moment he flew up and flew towards the direction of the Dragon Ball. But when passing by the group of tanks, he did not forget to throw out a few energy bombs, instantly turning all the tanks on the ground into scrap metal. Looking at the tanks exploding in the distance, Wu Long's head popped out from behind Bulma and said tremblingly, "Is that boy a monster?" "Probably." Bulma was also stunned. She knew Vegeta was powerful, but she didn't expect him to be this powerful. With just a wave of his hand, he destroyed a tank unit. Could it be that this kid's strength alone could rival that of an entire army? Son Gohan said that he was a child who fell from the sky. Could it be that Vegeta's true identity is an alien who plans to invade the Earth? Not long after, the residents of the Gyuramanth kingdom who lived near the palace saw a strange thing. The army that King Grumis had spent a huge amount of money to build suddenly rushed out of the camp and opened fire fiercely in the east. But in that direction, everyone could see nothing. Only a few people with sharp eyes could vaguely see a small black dot. "What on earth is that?" someone asked. "A bird? Is it a plane?" "No, that's Superman." Everyone turned their heads to look at the person who had just spoken. "What are you talking about? Who is Superman?" The man being stared at rubbed the back of his head and grinned foolishly. "Ah, I just thought that's the right way to say it. Weird, ha ha ha." At this time, the Kingdom Army Air Force, which was dispatched in an emergency, had approached Vegeta. When the fighter pilots saw that their target was actually a person, they were all shocked. "What are you still standing there for? Fire now." Under the command of a captain, the fighter planes of the Kingdom of Gyuramanth were sparking. Machine gun bullets were fired at Vegeta. Vegeta frowned, and the aura bursting from his body melted all the approaching bullets into gunpowder smoke. Then a ball of light flashed around him, like a shining little sun. Suddenly, the ball of light rushed towards the opposing air force, swallowing up all the fighter planes and their pilots. When the light faded, the remaining troops of the Gyuraman's kingdom on the ground suddenly realized that their comrades in the sky had been wiped out. "Report to the general. All our Air Force signals have disappeared. They may have been wiped out." On a tank, an officer marked as a major yelled at his superior who was sitting on the roof of the tank. "Idiot! Don't I have eyes?" The general turned his head and cursed. Then what should we do, General?" the major said tremblingly. "What else can we do? Run. We got paid to fight a war, not to fight a monster." Without the general's orders, the soldiers around him who heard his words immediately dropped their weapons and turned around to flee. Soon, panic spread throughout the army. The army of the Kingdom of Gyuramans was only recently formed, and most of the soldiers in it were mercenaries who came to apply for the job because of the high salary offered by the kingdom. There was no question of loyalty at all. In the kingdom, Dr. Willow looked at Vegeta, who was still flying at high speed on the screen, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. How is it possible? There is such a powerful person in this world. Could he be the legendary martial artist? A half-bald man nearby asked Dr. Willow, "What should we do? Should we evacuate? That man will fly to the palace in a few minutes." "Retreat? Why should we retreat? Since this person is so powerful, isn't he just the right person to test our cyborg's strength?" Dr. Willow sneered and ordered Dr. Tekken, "Order the cyborgs to attack." "Understand. Cyborg is the latest biological weapon developed by Dr. Willow at great expense after he came to the Kingdom of Gyuramans. According to Dr. Willow's idea, The strength of these cyborgs can even rival that of the legendary Devil Piccolo who wreaked havoc on the Earth hundreds of years ago. Okay. After a moment, Vegeta, who had already seen the palace, suddenly stopped because three short gray monsters suddenly stopped him. If Vegeta regained his memory at this moment, he would definitely find these three monsters familiar, because their appearance is very similar to the cultivators used by the Saiyans. Of course, the combat power between the two is actually very different. The combat power of a cyborg is actually less than 200. Who are you? Vegeta asked. What answered him was a joint attack from three cyborgs. Vegeta snorted coldly, stretched out his hands, and the energy in his body suddenly burst out. The three cyborgs seemed to have hit a tornado and flew backwards in all directions. Vegeta extended his index finger and tapped the three cyborgs lightly. 3 energy waves shot out, instantly blasting them into pieces. What? Doctor? Willow was shocked when he saw the cyborg signal disappeared in an instant. It was not until this moment that he realized what a terrifying monster he was facing. This person is too powerful. I must leave quickly. However, at this time, air raid alarms sounded everywhere in the palace. Vegeta flew over the palace and launched a crazy bombardment of the palace with Kigong waves from both hands. Chapter 16 Dragon Balls Aren and -039T that hard to find. A few hours later, Bulma and Oolong finally drove to the capital of the Gyuramanth Kingdom. From afar, the two saw the ruins of the palace still emitting black smoke. For some unknown reason, a large group of residents of the kingdom of Gyuramanth were carrying food to the ruins with their families. What's going on? Where is the palace you mentioned, Oolong? Isn't it the ruins? Bulma was simply dumbfounded. Before coming here, Oolong said that the king of the kingdom of Gyuramanth had a huge palace. But now, looking around, apart from the ruins, where is the shadow of the palace? Oolong stopped a resident passing by and asked, What are you doing? Where is the palace? The resident recognized Oolong at once. Huh? Aren't you Oolong? Didn't you go to find the martial arts master? Never mind. There's no need now. We've been liberated. Now everyone is sending food to the hero who liberated us. After saying that, the resident continued to run towards the ruins holding a large panel. When Bulma and Oolong followed the crowd to the ruins, they saw Vegeta feasting in front of the ruins. The two asked the people around them again and found out that it was indeed Vegeta who did it. After destroying the evil kingdom army, the surrounding residents came together to thank the little hero. In the end, he didn't want anything and just wanted to eat something. So the current scene happened. You're finally here. Let's eat something together, Vegeta asked while eating. Oolong was dumbfounded. You will definitely be valued if you become a policeman in the future. Bulma walked up and hit him hard on the head. You bastard. Look at what you've done. What if the Dragon Balls are destroyed by you? Won't you find out if you look for it? Vegeta snatched the Dragon Ball radar and started searching the area. The ruins that would have taken at least several weeks to clear were as easy to move as building blocks in his hands. It only took a short while for Vegeta to discover the Dragon Balls buried in the ruins. Look, isn't this what we found? It's a 3-star ball. Bulma breathed a sigh of relief and was about to praise Vegeta. But I saw this kid with his hands on his hips, looking relaxed, with an elite like me here. It won't be hard to find the Dragon Balls. Forget it. Bulma suddenly stopped wanting to praise him. After finding the Dragon Ball, Bulma prepared to say goodbye to Oolong and continue looking for the 5th Dragon Ball. Unexpectedly, Oolong actually wanted to go with them. Why? Didn't you say that if you found reinforcements, there would be a girl to marry you? Oolong said angrily. Those guys said that the person I found was not Son Gohan, and they are trying to shirk their responsibility. I don't want to see these ungrateful liars anymore. Take me with you. I know how to transform, so maybe I can be of some help. Haha, actually my goal is the Dragon Ball that can fulfill any wish. Bulma was still hesitating, but Vegeta said, "Take him with you. If we run out of food, we won't have to waste our energy looking for prey. I'm an orc. I can't be eaten." Wulong immediately jumped up. Just like that, the original Dragon Ball duo became a trio, and the group set out on their journey again. However, Vegeta and the others didn't know that shortly after they left the kingdom of Gyramance, under the ruins of the original kingdom, Dr. Hakken finally escaped with the help of a robot. Nightmare. This is simply a nightmare. The army that Dr. Willow had worked so hard to build up was just gone like that. It turns out that there are such powerful humans in this world. Click. Suddenly, not far from Dr. Kekken, a hand stretched out from the ruins. "Help me. Dr. Willow. Dr. Kirkin recognized the voice as Dr. Willow's and immediately ordered the robot to rescue people. But when they finally dug Dr. Willow out, they saw that his body had become broken and he was dying. Ding! The subject's vital signs are close to zero. He is beyond help, the robot diagnosed. Dr. Willow, who was dying, suddenly burst out with energy as if he had returned to his last breath. He grabbed Dr. Kekken and said, "Kekken, take me to the North Pole. There is my secret base there. Even if I die, you can revive me. Take me to." After saying this, Dr. Willow seemed to have run out of strength and stopped breathing in an instant. Secret base? Although Dr. Kirchen was skeptical about Dr. Willow's words, he was unwilling to let his career disappear into thin air. "Okay, Dr. Willow, I believe you." The other side. After resolving the incident in the kingdom of Gyramance, Vegeta and his two companions' journey went smoothly. Not long after, the three of them found the reaction of the fifth Dragon Ball in a castle. However, when the three people approached the castle, they were counterattacked by the weapons system inside the castle. Although startled, Vegeta then used a single energy wave to blast the entire castle into rubble. "By the way, who owns this castle?" Bulma asked as she searched for the Dragon Balls in the ruins. Wulong said, "Who knows? Maybe it's the remnants of the Gyuraman's kingdom army." The king had already prepared to send troops out to look for other Dragon Balls. "This might be their vanguard base." "Found it." As Wulong shouted excitedly, the fifth Dragon Ball was finally found. "It's so easy," Bulma said happily. It has been less than half a month since she decided to look for the Dragon Balls. She was originally worried that it might take more than half a year to find all the Dragon Balls, but now it seems that it may take less than a month to get them all. HMPH. As long as I'm here, of course, Vegeta said with his arms folded. "I know, because you are an elite," Bulma replied perfunctorily while checking the radar. The next Dragon Ball seemed to be in the ocean to the south. "Looks like we'll have to use a plane this time. Come on, let's go." Bulma used the capsule to create a plane, and the group flew south. During the whole process, the three of them did not notice that not far from the ruins, three unlucky guys were lying on the ground covered with injuries. "King Pilaf, our part won't end with just a few words, will it?" "Shut up. Those people stole my Dragon Balls. How can I just let it go?" "Go after them." This trio is none other than Pilaf's gang who want to rule the world through Dragon Balls. The castle that Vegeta destroyed casually was the home that Pilaf spent most of his family fortune to build. In order to seek revenge, the trio quickly summoned a means of transportation using the universal capsules they carried with them, and followed Vegeta and his crew south. Chapter 17 I-039 LL kill you if you say one more word. In the vast ocean, there is a small island that looks like a piece of emerald inlaid on the blue waves. Although forgotten by the world, this island is actually very famous in the martial arts world on Earth. Because the owner of the island is none other than Master Roshi, who is now known as the god of martial arts on Earth. At this moment, on the beach of the island, Master Roshi was lying on a beach chair with a peaceful look on his face. Nearby, Master Roshi's pet turtle was playing with a little dragon as big as a cat. While teasing the wretched little dragon named Courting Dragon, Turtle asked, Master came, Krillin and the others haven't been back for a few days. Aren't you worried that something might have happened to them? I just asked them to go to Xiaonu's place to put out a fire. If they can't handle such a small matter, they are not worthy of being my apprentices. Master Roshi lay lazily on the beach chair, showing no sign of moving. But didn't the Bull Demon King say last night that Krillin and Yamcha heard that there were demons causing trouble in the demon castle? So they decided to go and defeat the demons. Okay. Master Roshi suddenly sat up from the beach chair. Demon. Why don't I remember it? It was last night. You were watching the beautiful yoga girl and didn't hear it, right? Master Roshi coughed violently. How is that possible? Of course I heard it. It's okay. They are just demons. Suddenly, Master Roshi's eyes narrowed behind his sunglasses. He keenly felt that a powerful yet both good and evil aura was approaching them. This aura is so terrifying. It seems to be even more terrifying than the great Demon King Piccolo from hundreds of years ago. Who is it? At this moment, the turtle looked at the sky and shouted, Master came, there's a plane coming. Could it be Krillin and the others? A moment later, Bulma and her 3 companions landed on the island. Bulma was looking at the radar, trying to confirm the location of the Dragon Ball, when unexpectedly an old man in fancy clothes suddenly jumped out. Hello. Is there someone here? Bulma was startled. Wulong rolled his eyes. Don't you see there's a house? Bulma. Look at that turtle. It's not an orc, is it? Can I eat it? Vegeta pointed at Master Kame's turtle and shouted. Master Kame, this child with those evil eyes is so scary. The turtle tried desperately to move behind Master Roshi, but its movements were too slow, so Master Roshi had to move himself and stand in front of it. 3 of you, are you here to steal turtles? Asked Master Roshi. Wait. Master Kame? Wulong's expression suddenly changed. Are you the martial arts god, turtle hermit, Master Wu-Tian? It's me. Master Roshi put his hands behind his back, posing in a superior manner. The god of martial arts. Ridiculous. In my opinion, he is obviously very weak. It seems that he is not even as good as Son Gohan. Vegeta looked disdainful. Son Wufan? Master Roshi narrowed his eyes, and when his gaze fell on the golden hoop behind Vegeta, he was suddenly a little surprised. You are the Vegeta? Son Gohan's adopted child and disciple. Hey? You know Son Gohan? Of course. Because I'm his master, and it was Son Gohan who told me about you. Suspicious guy. Vegeta still found it a little unconvincing because in his opinion, Master Roshi seemed to be much weaker than Son Gohan, so how could he be his master? Forget it. For Son Gohan's sake, I'll show you my skills. Master Roshi felt like he was being looked down upon. It just so happened that he had been lacking exercise recently, so he decided to show him his real kung fu skills. After taking off his coat, Master Roshi's thin body made Bulma and Oolong begin to doubt his identity. However, the next moment, Master Roshi's body suddenly swelled up and became a terrifying muscular man. In Vegeta's eyes, he could feel a rapidly expanding aura. The next moment, Master Roshi clasped his palms together, facing the sea surface, and a white-blue beam of light spurted out from his palms. The beam of light fell on the sea, immediately exploding into a 100-meter-high column of water. After Master Roshi finished his work, his body quickly changed back. He put his hands behind his back, wanting to see Vegeta and the others' reactions, but he found that not only Vegeta, but even Bulma and Oolong had no reaction. It was as if nothing had happened just now. You guys are not scared, are you? This is my Kameryu's unique secret technique. Kamehameha. Vegeta, do you believe it now? That's really good. I believe you are Master Roshi. At least at that moment just now, you were stronger than Son Gohan. At this time, Bulma finally noticed the Dragon Ball hanging around Master Roshi's neck. She then asked, Grandpa came, can you give us the thing on your neck? That's what we're looking for. This crystal ball. I found it at the bottom of the sea 100 years ago. Do you want it? Uh-huh. Bulma and Oolong nodded together. Then how about Master Roshi originally wanted to give the Dragon Ball to them as it was, since he didn't know what the crystal ball was used for anyway. But he suddenly saw Vegeta with a proud look on his face and curled his lips. I can give it to you, but I also have a request. What's the request? Bulma looked happy, thinking that she was going to get the Dragon Ball. I want Master Kame could no longer pretend to be a master, and revealed a crazy look on his face. I want to see your underwear. What? Vegeta and Turtle's faces changed drastically at the same time. The latter hurriedly said, Master Kame, you are a master. How can you be so vulgar? Shut up. Immortals also have desires. Bulma. Vegeta was about to ask Bulma to refuse, but she said, wait a minute, let's think about it. After saying that, Bulma pulled Vegeta and Oolong to the back of Kame's house. Bulma, you can't agree to that old pervert's request, Vegeta said anxiously. It's okay, I have a way. Bulma looked at Oolong with a sly smile. When she told him her plan, Oolong refused to do it. Why do you want me to sacrifice my looks? Isn't this the time when your transformation technique will come in handy? Transform quickly, or I'll let Vegeta eat you, eh? Where's Vegeta? It was only then that the two realized that Vegeta was missing. At this moment, a loud noise suddenly sounded on the nearby sea. The next moment, the two saw a water column rising from the sea that was more than 300 meters high. When they ran to the beach, they found out that the water column was caused by Vegeta. Master Roshi opened his mouth wide and his jaw was almost dislocated. The Kamehameha that he had just performed with 50% of his strength was actually no match for the energy wave that Vegeta casually shot out. He had heard from Son Gohan before that this kid named Vegeta was very evil, but he didn't expect the truth to be even more exaggerated than what Son Gohan said. I'm so angry. You shut up. If you say another word, I'll kill you. Hand over the Dragon Ball immediately. Bulma ran over in a panic, trying to stop him. Vegeta, I'm sorry. I'll give you the Dragon Balls. Seeing Master Roshi obediently presenting the Dragon Ball with both hands, Bulma and Oolong, who thought a fight might break out between the two, immediately fell to the ground. Bulma, could it be that Vegeta likes you? Oolong said while lying on the ground. You shut up too. Vegeta blushed and pointed his hand at Oolong. Huh? Bulma was shocked. Could it be that what Oolong said was true? Chapter 18 Vegeta and 039's Weakness. Bulma, there is only one Dragon Ball left. Hurry up and see where it is. After receiving the Dragon Ball thrown by Vegeta, Bulma temporarily gave up her previous wild thoughts. In any case, finding Vegeta as her bodyguard was the wisest choice for this trip. Bulma was confirming the direction when Master Roshi next to her suddenly came over with a lick on his face. Even though the Dragon Balls have been given to you, can you at least agree to one of my requests? Vegeta immediately glared back. Old man, do you think I dare not kill you? No, you misunderstood. Master Kame quickly shook his head. This request is very serious. I actually want to ask you to go check on my two apprentices. I heard that they went to a place called the Demon Castle and their whereabouts are still unknown. Vegeta, you are so powerful, why don't you go check on them for me? The Demon Castle. Is that place dangerous? Vegeta became interested. Yes, I heard that demons from ancient times appeared there recently. Ancient demons are all very scary. My two disciples have only been training with me for a year. I'm afraid they are no match for them. That sounds interesting. Where is the magic castle? In that direction. Seeing the direction Master Roshi was pointing, Bulma exclaimed, Huh? Because this direction is exactly the location of the last Dragon Ball. Vegeta, it looks like the last Dragon Ball is over there. That's perfect, old man. I will mercifully agree to your request. Then please. Everyone was about to board the plane, but at this moment, Vegeta's face suddenly changed and his body fell to the ground. When everyone heard the voice, they all looked over with strange expressions. Vegeta, what are you doing? Why don't you come up quickly? Bulma wondered. I can't get up, Tails. I have no strength left since my tail was grabbed. What? It was then that everyone realized that Vegeta's tail had been grabbed by a wretched-looking little dragon at some point. What is this? Ah, isn't this my courting dragon? This is my pet. When it sees something it likes, it will grab it tightly. Master Roshi said with a smile. No wonder, I feel that this wretched face looks very similar to someone. Wulong complained. Hurry and drive him away for me. Vegeta said weakly. Let me do it. I didn't expect you to have such a weakness. Master Roshi came over and with a clever move, he pulled the courting dragon out from Vegeta's tail. Vegeta, who was half dead just now, immediately recovered his spirit. Looking at the courting dragon held in Master Roshi's arms, Vegeta gritted his teeth and wished he could kill it immediately. But in the end, I gritted my teeth and gave up. Soon, Bulma and her group boarded a plane and flew towards the last Dragon Ball. Master Roshi looked at the plane going away and murmured, that kid Gohan really took in a monster. However, neither Master Roshi nor Vegeta and his crew who had already gone far away noticed it. On the sea not far from Gixian Island, a periscope quietly sank into the sea and finally returned to a submarine. The owners of this submarine are none other than the Pilaf trio. Did you all see it? It turns out that the tail is Vegeta's weakness. Pilaf looked excited. Ash, who looked like a puppy, hesitated and said, but even if we know his weakness, it's useless. Master Pilaf, don't you see that Vegeta is even stronger than Master Roshi? We can't do it, but someone can. Pilaf said confidently. Who? The demons in the castle. As long as we tell them Vegeta's weakness, they will be able to defeat Vegeta. Then we can take the opportunity to snatch the Dragon Balls and use them to realize our grand ideal of ruling the world. Xiao Wu and Ash couldn't help but step back in fear. Xiao Wu asked awkwardly, King Pilaf, will things really go so smoothly? What else? Do you have any other solution? Pilaf yelled. Seeing that neither of them responded, he immediately ordered, all right. We have to get to the demon castle before Vegeta and the others. Switch to rocket mode immediately. The next moment, the submarine in the water turned into a rocket, suddenly jumped out of the water from the bottom of the sea and flew at high speed towards the magic castle. On the plane, Bulma and Vegeta both looked relaxed as if they were about to get the last Dragon Ball. Only Wulong's expression gradually became ugly. Bulma noticed this and asked, Wulong, do you have a stomachache? You're the one having a stomachache. I just suddenly thought of something. That Master Roshi is so cunning, he's going to send us to hell. Hell? What's going on? Wulong said gloomily, you don't even know what kind of magic castle we are going to. It is said that the place was once the residence of a fallen god a long time ago. It is said that the god lost in the battle for the throne with other gods and finally turned from a god into a demon. The demon castle was his former base. I heard that the place is filled with evil spirits all year round and is a forbidden place for humans. The fallen god was unwilling to surrender to the new god, and later used that place as a starting point to wage war against the gods until he was destroyed by the gods. But before he was destroyed, he left a will, saying that one day his descendants would make a comeback, and that would be the end of the world. Wulong's sinister tone made Bulma nervous. But at this time, Vegeta's voice sounded out of place. So what? What's in that place now? The remnants of the fallen gods? Or his descendants? If there really are those guys, it sounds very interesting. Wulong was speechless. Doesn't this guy know what fear is? Forget it. With his strength, perhaps even if the fallen god were to resurrect, he wouldn't be his match. Wulong put his hands on his head and simply changed the subject. Bulma, what wish are you going to make when you find the Dragon Balls? Haha, didn't I tell you? Of course I want to find a handsome boyfriend, Bulma said shyly, holding her face. Humph. A cold snort suddenly came from the side. The two knew without even looking that it must be that guy Vegeta. What about Vegeta? He's just a bodyguard? Wulong asked again. Him? Bulma looked at Vegeta, who had closed his eyes and pretended to rest. In fact, he also has a wish, which is to let the dragon restore his memory. Recovering memories? Did Vegeta lose his memory? Yes, a drop of cold sweat suddenly fell on Wulong's face. This Vegeta is so fierce even though he has lost his memory. If he regains his memory, will he suddenly become a big devil? He turned his head quietly and glanced at Vegeta. Even though he had his eyes closed, he had a ferocious expression on his face. Wulong suddenly felt that his guess seemed very likely to be true. Chapter 19, Carrick II. A few hours later, just as the sun was setting, Bulma and the others finally arrived at their destination, the edge of the demon castle. Because there was a thick and impenetrable fog near the demon castle, Bulma didn't dare to fly the plane in easily, so the group chose to move forward on foot. However, the strange atmosphere in the magic castle still forced Bulma to be careful. This place is really weird. It looks like a monster lives there. Wulong's face turned pale and he hugged Bulma's thighs. So I said, we shouldn't come here. But the last Dragon Ball is inside, Vegeta. Let's observe carefully first. Before Bulma could finish her words, she heard Vegeta's voice coming from far ahead. Hurry up, you two, or I won't wait any longer. Can't you be more careful? Bulma couldn't help but curse, and the next moment she was trotting towards Vegeta. Wait for me. Wulong hurriedly followed. The two followed Vegeta closely, looking around nervously. But at this moment, the three of them suddenly heard the sound of fighting coming from the front. Could this be the disciple that Master Roshi mentioned? Wulong asked. Vegeta smiled contemptuously. Go and have a look. The three of them then came to a courtyard, and as expected, they saw two martial artists wearing red martial arts uniforms with the word turtle on their clothes. One of these two martial artists is short and bald. The other one is tall with long flowing hair. Next to them, there was a blue cat-shaped animal floating in the air, cheering them on. Ah, isn't that cool? Wulong exclaimed. Do you know them? Bulma asked. Wulong shook his head. I only know that pool. He and I used to be in the same magic kindergarten, but looking at the clothes of those two people, they should be the disciples that Master Roshi mentioned, right? At this time, two martial artists were fighting with a group of demon soldiers. These demon soldiers have round and pointed heads and actually look very similar to the Namekians, except that they do not have Namekian tentacles, their skin color is darker, and their strength is weak, and they cannot be compared with the Namekians at all. Therefore, although they were outnumbered, the group of demon soldiers were completely unable to do anything to these two martial artists. These two guys are so awesome, Wulong exclaimed. Yes. Bulma also nodded. That's all Vegeta said with his arms folded, but at this moment he suddenly noticed that Bulma's eyes were fixed on the tall martial artist. He immediately added, It's far from me. After a while, with the joint efforts of the two martial artists, the demon soldiers continued to retreat and finally all fell to the ground. Hee, Yamcha, an opponent of this level is no match for us. Yeah, Krillin, the training under Master Wu Tian is really amazing. I couldn't imagine that I could become so strong. Krillin and Yamcha both looked emotional. A year ago, if I hadn't met Master Kame who was traveling outside by chance, I would have become his disciple. Perhaps one of them is still a little monk in the temple, while the other continues to be a bandit in the wilderness. It wouldn't be like today, even facing the feared demons, it would be easy. We have been out for a long time. It's time to finish everything here and go back to find Master Wu-Tian, right? Yamcha took a few steps forward with a smug look on his face, and said to a palace next to the courtyard, "Demon King, please show up quickly. Didn't you send someone to ask for the Dragon Ball? Come and get it quickly." As he spoke, Yamcha took out a sparkling bead from his pocket. "It is the last Dragon Ball that Bulma and the others are looking for." This time, Yamcha and Krillin were commissioned by Master Roshi to go to his apprentice Bull Demon King to help put out a fire. After the task was completed, Bull Demon King used the Dragon Ball as a thank you gift. But at this moment, a demon warrior suddenly appeared and tried to snatch the Dragon Ball. After successfully killing the opponent, Yamcha and the others realized that this demon soldier came from the Demon Castle. The descendant of the legendary Demon King seems to appear, searching everywhere for the whereabouts of the Dragon Ball. Yamcha and Krillin, who thought they were no longer the same as before, came to the Demon Castle together and tried to destroy the demons here. Four footsteps suddenly sounded. A green figure, even shorter than Krillin, came out with 3 other exceptionally burly demon warriors. "This little blue man is the owner of this place, Carrick II, just like the legend that Oolong had told Vegeta and the others before. Carrick II father, Carrick, was the rival of the contemporary Earth gods for the throne of God. Later, because of his evil thoughts, Carrick failed in the competition and was suppressed and destroyed by the previous generation of gods. However, before his death, Carrick threatened that his children would come back for revenge in 300 years. There are still several years to go before the predicted date, but a year ago, an unexplained tremor occurred in the sky above the earth. The sleeping Carrick II was awakened early by a powerful breath accompanied by a vibration. Although he was short in stature, Carrick II already possessed strength far superior to that of his men. He looked at the demon warriors lying on the ground with a look of disdain. "Useless trash, 2 humans can't even handle it. Go clean it up for me." "As you command, my lord." The 3 demon elites behind Carrick II immediately jumped out of the palace and landed in front of Krillin and Yamcha. "Are you the next opponents?" Yamcha immediately took up his stance, ready for battle. A drop of cold sweat quietly flowed down Krillin's forehead. He felt that the 3 demons in front of him seemed completely different from the minions just now. "Yamcha, be careful. These 3 guys seem very powerful." "Don't worry, we have survived the strict guidance of Master Wu-Tian. How could we lose to these demons?" Yamcha made his usual opening move and challenged the 3 demon elites. "Come on, all 3 of you. I want you to see the power of the Kane Senryu." In the distance, Bulma couldn't help but say, "This handsome guy is so confident. It looks like Vegeta doesn't need to take action." "Humph. He's going to be finished soon," Vegeta said contemptuously. "Bulma, Vegeta, you're not jealous of others again, are you? How can such a low-level warrior compare to an elite like me?" On the other side, 3 demon elites also suddenly burst into laughter. Then, one of the shortest warriors came over and sneered, "A mere human wants us to fight together. I, Lord Jaider, am enough alone." As soon as he finished speaking, Ji disappeared from Yamcha's sight. What? Before Yamcha could catch the other party's movement, he heard a muffled sound behind him. Krillin had actually fallen to the ground, and Jayag, who had just disappeared, was standing next to Krillin with a look of contempt. "What did you do to Krillin?" Yamcha yelled and punched, but his fist was easily clamped. Instead, Ji kicked Yamcha casually, causing him to almost vomit acid and fall to the ground. "Yamcha!" Pool cried out in surprise and tried to check on Yamcha's condition, but was slapped by Jayag and fainted. Chapter 20 Vegeta is out of control. "Ha ha ha. You guys want to challenge the demons with your limited strength." When the wild laughter of the demon Jaider echoed in the scene, Bulma and Oolong's faces changed drastically. They didn't expect that Master Roshi's disciples couldn't even withstand a single attack from the opponent. Is the gap between the 2 sides really that big? Huh? Bulma, look. When Bulma heard Oolong's voice, she realized that Vegeta, who was originally beside them, had run away without them knowing when. He walked all the way to Yamcha, looked at Yamcha who was lying on the ground, and suddenly moved his hands and feet in one direction. Vegeta, what are you doing? Bulma yelled. This posture suits him. Vegeta looked at his work and suddenly felt like laughing for some reason. He always felt that this was the correct posture for Yamcha to fall to the ground. After fiddling with Yamcha, Vegeta looked at the three demons. Next, it's my turn. When the three demons saw Vegeta, they suddenly showed strange expressions on their faces, and then they turned around and looked towards the palace together. In the palace, Carrick II looked at Vegeta and said with a scornful smile, "Is that the boy with the evil eyes the Vegeta you are talking about?" "Why yes, Lord Carrick." Behind Carrick II, Pilaf and his group hid behind a pillar and spoke tremblingly. "Lord Carrick, you must not underestimate him. If you don't exploit his weakness as we told you, I'm afraid your men will be in danger." Carrick II nodded. "Okay, I'll trust you this time." Jiager, Licky, Shansu. It's this kid. The three demons looked at each other, all a little surprised. Not long ago, they accidentally captured 3 intruders, but the other party said that a super powerful man was about to arrive, and they came here specifically to report the news because they admired Carrick II. According to the guy named Pilaf, this strong man has amazing strength, but has a fatal weakness. If they don't take advantage of this weakness, they will probably die at the hands of the other party. But in the eyes of the three demons, this little guy named Vegeta doesn't look like a strong man at all. Lord Carrick is overthinking. How could anyone in this world be a match for our demon clan? Don't move. I can handle this guy by myself. After easily dealing with Krillin and the other two, the demon Jiag seemed to be full of confidence. He stretched his muscles and wanted to attack Vegeta alone. Does your boss want you 3 to take action together? You will regret it if you don't listen to him, Vegeta said with a smile. I'm enough to deal with a guy like you, Jiage said contemptuously. Vegeta sneered and took a small step forward. The next moment, his figure disappeared from everyone's sight. When he appeared again, he was already in front of Jiage, with 5 fingers opened and pointed at his head. Boom. Before Jiaji could react, Vegeta shot out a wave of energy, blasting the demon into pieces. What? Lai Kai and Shan Su were both shocked. They didn't expect that Vegeta's strength was even more terrifying than they had imagined. Killing Shansu with 1 strike, even Carrick II might not be able to do it, right? So awesome. Who is this guy? There is actually a human in this world who is stronger than Master Wu Qian? Krillin was also completely stunned. Shansu, should we listen to Lord Carrick? Lai Kai used the demon clan's unique telepathy to quickly formulate a plan with Shansu. Shansu nodded and then said to Vegeta, "Boy, your strength is indeed very strong. I wonder if your defense is as sharp as your offense." Vegeta looked at them with disdain. What are your plans? If you are confident in your own strength, do you dare to take on the combined attack from both of us? Lai Kai shouted. You are a bunch of scum. Even if you join forces, you are nothing in my eyes. Just try it. Vegeta stretched out his arms and completely let down his defense. Seeing his appearance, Bulma immediately shouted, "Vegeta, don't be careless. Shut up. This is my fight, woman, don't interrupt." After being scolded by Vegeta, Bulma also became angry. Where does your arrogance come from? Seeing that Vegeta not only lowered his defense but even started arguing with a woman in the distance, Lai Kai and Shan Su immediately seized the opportunity and rushed towards Vegeta. Since you are so confident, just take this move from me. Lai Kai pushed his hands forward and fired a Kai blast at Vegeta. Boom! Exclamation! The energy wave hit Vegeta instantly, causing thick smoke to burst out. But when the smoke cleared, Vegeta was seen covering his mouth with a look of disdain. Is this your best effort? Apart from creating some smoke, it's not much else, right? Okay. Suddenly, Vegeta saw that there was only one demon, Ricky, in front of him. But the demon named Shansu was nowhere to be seen. Alarm bells immediately rang in his mind. Is it just as Vegeta was about to turn his head, the missing Sanso suddenly jumped out of the smoke and grabbed his tail? What? Vegeta's face changed instantly. He who was so arrogant just now no longer had the strength to stand, and his eyelids drooped weakly. What those guys said was actually true. Look at this kid. Sansu grinned and kicked Vegeta hard several times. Vegeta was like a sandbag, completely unable to fight back. Why do they know Vegeta's weakness? It's over. It's all because of that idiot Vegeta. We're done for now. Bulma and Oolong turned around to escape, but it was too late. Ricky, who had already noticed them, suddenly stopped them and then forcibly snatched the bag of Dragon Balls from Bulma. It's on you guys. Stop. Those are our Dragon Balls. Bulma wanted to get the Dragon Ball back, but was slapped in the face. Now this belongs to Master Carrick. Asshole. Looking at the bullied Bulma, Vegeta gritted his teeth, but with his tail controlled he almost didn't even have the strength to speak. I then searched Yamcha and found the last Dragon Ball, and then brought it to Carrick II. Lord Carrick. This is the legendary Dragon Ball. Carrick II couldn't help but look excited. I didn't expect that the legendary Dragon Balls could be collected so easily. The Pilaf trio hiding in the dark were feeling uneasy at the moment. The dog-headed man Ash looked at the Dragon Ball with reluctance. King Pilaf, are we really going to give the Dragon Ball to him like this? There's no other way. Without them, we can't get the Dragon Balls. I just hope that after he fulfills his wish, he can give us some reward. Pilaf said helplessly. All right, legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.